Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they're kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have the co-host, Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just working on some new music, finishing new songs up, and just chilling at the crib and living, I guess.
Yeah. It's been that kind of week for wrestling, man. Like, you're just thinking, like, what can we do to make this show? It seems like we always talk about, like, yeah, we don't have that much stuff. We could cover it and everything else. And then all of a sudden the show is like, over 2.5 hours. This week, Stardom only has three matches up from the Grand Prix so far, so I don't feel like covering that until next week. Really the only thing we have is Wednesday shows and like some of the stuff around it. I guess that means that we are going to start off with the wrestling that we've all watched collectively this week. So, in chronological order, that means that we are going to start this brand new segment called Rich Watches Raw. Fill us in and let us know what you saw on Vince McMahon's baby, his A show, Monday Night Raw. Rich, take it away.
So seeing as how this completely foreign concept was introduced, of me watching wrestling on a Monday, I had heard about the return of Shane O'Mac, the best striker in WWE history, a man who is known to, sweat so bad you think he's near death in a ring, but he comes out fine on every time. But as soon as I heard about, it was in the afternoon, it was like people were on Twitter saying that there may be some new version of Brawl for All coming. I was like, what? I must see this. So I popped up my illegal stream at about 10 o'clock. And, cause I heard it, Shane came out and of course they started showing, clips and said basically the 10 o'clock hour. So I was like, all right, I ain't gonna turn on till then. So I learned of the concept of Raw Underground. So Raw Underground, for those of you guys that didn't see it, they are in like this back room, supposedly in the underground, in the WWE warehouse, and have a no rope ring set up with the posts and everything. They have the wrestlers crowded around the ring, one of them being Swerve. What up, Swerve? And they have guys that are in WWE in some of those fights. They have some guys that are not in WWE.
Hold on. Wasn't Swerve out there gambling?
Yes.
Okay.
Lost his money, I believe.
He was gambling, much like Sean Spears in MJF a few months ago in AEW. Gambling on the side, taking bets.
Gambling. So they have like some indie guys in the ring, like Culture Inc. was in there. They're an indie act in the Tampa Bay area. So I'm watching it and it's like, oh my God, they're doing fake shoot fights. Cause I was like, all right, are they going to do real shoot fights? And then I'm like, there's no way. Then you get to it, right? And it's not even that the fake shoot fighting is so bad. It's the fucking camera cuts. It's like 7,000 camera cuts within 5 seconds. No bullshit. No exaggeration. Now, most people be like, oh yeah, you know, the WWE camera stuff in regular matches, that's off-putting, whatever. And I don't really notice it most times. This was like the Shield on steroids, like what they were doing in the Raw Underground.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, like, is it actually worse than what they normally do? In, like, from some of the stuff I've seen, because I've seen it for myself, I have to ask you, was it worse than what it normally is?
Yes, because I think it was an initiative to make it look more chaotic and everything. So this shit's hilarious. Like, I'll say that. Like, it's fucking hilarious. Ziggler's in there beating up one geek. Yes, Dolph Ziggler is out here, you know, cause he's a shooter. You know, he's in Raw Underground. So like, much like the Fight Pit, like the Raw Underground has its own division, essentially. So they introduce, Babatunde. He has a name. It's like, they changed his name completely. It's like Doka something or whatever. I forgot what it was, but he fucking like, you know, dismantles a guy or two. And they're like real quick things. Like they'll go back, they'll be like, all right, in Raw Underground, and Shane McMahon standing out there with a ring. People are saying it looks like Fight Club, whatever. There are like, there are dancers, that are in there that are like, you know, like go-go dancers, like up on the perch or whatever, but they ain't exactly like, I ain't gonna get into it, but you know, they could have came right around to Tampa and rounded up, you know, you know, superior, you know, that class of talent if they wanted to have dancers, you know, involved with this.
Do you mean like dancers that are like that would perform, like, let's say south, like on Del Mabry, south of Raymond James Stadium? Oh, those kind of dancers. Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
That's I don't get that. I don't understand the point. And also, like,
so
I saw some of the pictures.
Them, like,
I saw some of the pictures and stills of it, and like that don't even seem like that doesn't seem appropriate for, like, the dancers doesn't seem appropriate for the setting. Does that sound like?
So the funny thing is, like, with it is like, while all of it's going on, there's like some royalty free music playing on underneath it the whole time.
Are you serious, bro?
Yes, like fucking Library of Congress, like track 76 in the Ted Turner Library, like style music that is, you know, underneath all this shit. So they're shooting it kind of cinematic style. They have all the goofy camera cuts, everything. Like, it's just like, I don't see how anyone will watch this and think of anything but the camera cuts. At the end, this whole thing leads up to, you know, Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. They're calling themselves the Hurt Business now. So these guys like arrive to the building, and, you know, they get wind of the Raw Underground thing. They're like, all right, we're going to go see what's up. And at the end, you know, they pretty much beat everyone's ass. Shelton Benjamin, like, took his shirt off, and you forget how big that dude is. And then when you think about it, Bobby Lashley fits perfect in the Raw Underground. So does Shelton Benjamin. And then MVP's in there selling out and, you know, talking that shit. And he beat someone's ass too. And then they clear out everybody. They run. Brendan Williams tries to run in there. He gets scooped by Lashley, I believe. Or no, he gets scooped by Shelton Benjamin. They beat up Swerve. They beat up pretty much everybody that was like out there or whatever, and said, basically, we run this shit. And then like they went off the air, and they're in their fancy dress clothes, and they walk in and whoop everyone's ass in a quote unquote shoot.
Okay, so a few things. One, they've been calling themselves the Hurt Business for a few weeks now. You know, whatever. But why would they beat up Swerve when Swerve is like, he's going to be like challenging for the Cruiserweight title in like a couple weeks?
They don't care about none of that.
I know they don't care about none of that, but that doesn't mean it's not dumb. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that's stupid.
Like, there's tons of guys around the ring, right? And they end up like clearing everybody out, essentially. Like, who else wants some of Debo's type of thing? So,
so now it's theirs, that they like basically like they strong armed this from Shane? Like, is Shane in cahoots?
Like, Shane kind of like just like looked at him like, oh, guys, like, I didn't expect this. Like, essentially, like, so they were like standing in the ring, and then Shane McMahon was on the floor, like, you know, looking at the camera, holding the microphone, like, yeah, we'll see y'all next week. This is some shit like that. So, like, I don't know what the, you know, I don't know where this is leading or anything, but there is no SmackDown Underground. There is no NXT Underground, but, the Raw Underground, it was funny. I'll give them that, but it definitely wasn't
funny or
good.
unintentionally funny.
Oh, unintentionally funny. Just hilarious. Like, dudes walking in dress clothes, shooting and beating people's ass. The way they were doing all the fights, like Ziggler, like you'll flash in and a fight will be going on and it's Ziggler mopping somebody. It was just hilarious. You had to see it because like the thing is, they would like cut back and forth to it or whatever, and then at the end they were like, "Oh yeah, at the end, you know, here's whatever we got going on with it."
So like the people that win, like, are they going to get more matches in like, like, what is the point of this? Like, does somebody
Nobody knows.
Does somebody win a championship? Does somebody make money? Does somebody get, you know, accolades or push up the card for winning these matches? Like, I heard there was something about
tough.
Eric gave somebody his normal,
beat a guy up.
Yeah, he beat somebody up with, like, doing his normal wrestling shit, and it's like,
yes, man did a V-trigger for the finish.
So when he basically does the knee and he looks over somebody and yells. So like, but he never KO. They never do ref stoppages when he does that in matches though.
Right. So the funny thing is, like, there's like a ref, but obviously there's no pins or anything, but Shane McMahon is on the microphone like it's an and one game or whatever. Like,
hey, like, sizzle.
So he's like, it's like Shane McMahon has to like stop the match, be on the mic. It seems like it's shit. Like, it's fucking hilarious. Like if it was anything, it made me smile when I was watching it because it was just like, wow. I was like, this is not good at all, but this is like,
okay, so you said
this is like a fucking car crash.
Okay, so you said there was a ref or there wasn't a ref.
I think there was a ref, but they weren't like being counting falls or anything. They weren't like, it seemed like Shane McMahon was in control. It seemed like they were there to like break him up or whatever. If somebody goes too far or something.
Okay, so who basically declared the other person the winner and who stopped the fight? Was it Shane?
I think it was Shane. But Shane's like on the outside of the ring with the mic the whole time, like the and1 guy. Like, it's like I said, there's music going on. They're not like real contests or whatever. It's just something happening or whatever. There's no like, you know, it's not like it's a official thing, obviously, but yeah, the Raw Underground, this shit was hilarious. Like, I'll give them that.
So was this like something that was like, because you're saying it's going so short, was this something like a whole hour in time, or was this like a thing where like it was like a one segment and then they would like go to something else in actual?
They keep coming back to it. They keep coming back to it.
Okay, so did you watch anything that actually happened like inside the PC and away from the warehouse or whatever the fuck?
Yeah, I saw Montez Ford wrestle a match against Andrade and he like collapsed like he was Shawn Michaels in 1995. I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, huh? And 1 minute he's shaking the ropes like Austin Ward, then he's like face down, pass out, and I'm like, great. I was like, there's a reason I don't watch this.
I saw that. Yeah, like that was a finish to it. They stopped the match. Anything else came up?
Shayna and Sasha did a match, but of course it didn't have a finish because the finish was it was Asuka attacking Bayley outside the ring. That was the finish.
And they rang the bell because of what was happening outside the ring, even though there are literally hundreds of matches in WWE over the last decade where someone runs into the ring and there is no fucking bell ring. Just fucking nonsense. What else?
Right.
Wasn't Caleb arguing that there wasn't no bullshit going on Raw too, and then like that happened minutes later? Didn't that happen?
I don't remember that, but we would have to confirm it with him. But there were like, it was the Shayna Sasha thing, and then the Montez Ford thing. Right. And in between that, they were cutting the Raw Underground. So I'm like, this show is horrible. Like, so they were up a tad bit, but they were up from like the worst rating ever. So how much are they really up? So
I mean, I don't care about the I don't care about the rating. Like,
That's why they're doing
Was the show good or bad?
That's why they were doing the Raw Underground, because they were headed towards like the lowest rating ever, especially Vince was just getting off that conference call and actually getting impressed by investors. Like, so why is like wrestling on Wednesday like bouncing back and Monday and Friday isn't, like, on the ratings? And he was like, because they're newer. And I'm
Which
like,
makes no sense.
That makes no sense, Vince.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Like, both the Wednesday shows are good shows most weeks.
Yeah.
The Monday show has a lot of good wrestling, but has a lot of dumb stuff on it that drags down the good wrestling. The Friday show seems to have good wrestling every blue moon, and then like has worse angles than Raw does. So it's like, your shows are bad on Mondays and Fridays. People don't want to watch your bad shows.
Yeah. And that's the new strategy right now with Raw. Like, they're throwing wild angles at the screen, like the Raw Underground, like fucking Retribution, which is like motherfuckers throwing a Molotov cocktail at a generator and then running around, and they're covered in head to toe from black, which may or may not like look like something you may have seen on the news. This is like WWE's take on Antifa. Yes. And of course, these are the villains, I would imagine, in Vince McMahon's universe, right?
Yeah. I mean,
then I saw a clip of them. They I guess they overran SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, they got a chainsaw and they cut up the ropes. They all look like the angriest, like 4'8" people. Like, it was just bad. Like, they were beating on, they were like spray painting the plexiglass and shit, like, with no WWE in it. Like, it was just like, yo, they're trying anything right now. That seems to be what's happening on the main roster. Oh, even in NXT right now, we're going to talk about old Pat McAfee later, but they throwing shit at the wall right now.
Fine by me. Aside from that, NXT was a good ass show. That was the only thing that I would be negative about on that show. That was actually on the show. Like, Wednesday was a huge bounce back from last week. A huge bounce back. But yeah, just I don't know.
Will you be checking out the Raw Underground?
No. Are you kidding me? No.
I suggest, if you watch anything, I just look it up on YouTube just so you can just see the clips, just to see what I'm talking about, like with the camera cuts and like the hilarious vibe of the place. Like, and it's like the lighting is like low, kind of, so it looks like a dungeon and shit. Like, it's way the fuck out there. Like,
yeah. One more note on the main roster thing. They're coming up with some convoluted thing to figure out. I think Bayley's next title challenger at SummerSlam. Like, they're doing.
You're ready for Charlotte to come back?
Nah, Charlotte's not gonna make it, I don't think. But they're doing basically like an open, like a tournament from like people from NXT in the main roster to.
It's a battle royal.
Oh, it's a battle royal. Okay, it's something like that where they're bringing in people from NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. I don't know what show it's on, whether it's on Raw or SmackDown. I'm assuming SmackDown. But yeah, it's just like that's what you have to do. Like, you can't just like figure out a way to pick somebody between Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville and push them as the next challenger. They have to still continue doing this, even though this shit kicked off before fucking WrestleMania. This should be over by now, and they should like come back to it like a year from now or whatever else. Like, why is it still going on? Whatever.
Yeah, triple brand battle royal from what I heard. I'm not believing it ain't Charlotte till she don't show up. After that, who do you think from NXT is going to get drafted to get beat by Bayley? If any.
Well, seeing that they're going towards this Mercedes Martinez Rhea thing, it won't be Rhea. or I don't think it will be Rhea, even though it should be Rhea. And if you saw the match she had on Wednesday, it's like, why the fuck isn't Rhea on the main roster trying to save SmackDown? Let's see.
Because she has to do the Robert Stone brand feud and run through all the people.
Let's see. I'm assuming. I don't know. Like, I mean, they could do people. They could do that makes sense. Like, they could do Rhea or Io. Those are the two people that I think like rate enough to it actually matter or whatever else. And then you can just throw in the history with the Great American Bash stuff and tie in the Asuka and Io thing or whatever else if you want to.
What about Mia Yim?
I guess. I mean, there's a bunch of people they could throw. They could throw Candice at her too if they wanted to, or Tegan Nox, or I want to say Shotzi Blackheart. I don't think they do that. I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're actually going to put anybody that's actually a player on NXT, because like I don't think they're actually going to go with someone NXT to be on SummerSlam unless it's Rhea again.
Okay.
So. I think you might get like Casey Catanzaro and Lacey. Caden Carter. Got to make sure. I always mix that up.
I'm gonna go with Mia Yim.
Okay.
Especially, I'm trying to think like somebody that like either they don't have to push as babyface in like NXT right now, that can come in and just fucking lose to Bayley because they have Bayley being Hollywood Hogan and shit right now. So,
but do you actually think that like the person they pull up from NXT is actually going to win and be on SummerSlam?
Sure, why not? They can go in there and get a L at SummerSlam, because it ain't like you win the title; you just going in there to lose probably.
Yeah. I just don't.
It would be a nice time, like, Bianca Belair could just win this shit and then, like, off to the races, but, they don't,
It's amazing. Like, she debuted on the main roster, or got called up. Her first time was at WrestleMania, and this is, like, at WrestleMania, and then, like, they've done this with her. Or by this, I mean nothing.
Bianca Belair has done more to get herself over than they have. She has done a home invasion.
Well, first off, we don't know if that was probably just a work shoot thing. We're like, yeah, go ahead and do it. We don't care. It's like,
so what?
It's ridiculous.
It was great.
A home invasion work shoot for like some shit that probably won't even make TV. I just
incredible.
This company is unbelievable. Did you see, by any chance, on Wednesday, or not Wednesday, but on Monday, did you see any of the Dominic and Seth stuff? Any chance?
I saw Seth Rollins cutting a promo and, like, zoned out. Nothing. I retained nothing from his promo, but I know they're doing the match.
Seth's gonna win, put him in the casket this year, isn't he?
I mean, I'm sure he'll be nominated.
Like, this is...
He was nominated last year, wasn't he?
This is so much worse than that.
Man.
So much worse than that. Like,
I think he said less dumb stuff in the media, but, like, I don't know. Like, yes, I think his character's just awful.
They are ruining his career. Like, he still has good matches on pay-per-view, but outside of that, like, this thing has done nothing for him. And he's not getting nobody over either. He hasn't gotten Samoa Joe over. He hasn't gotten, the Viking Raiders over. He hasn't gotten Kevin Owens over. He hasn't gotten Ray or Dominic over. Like, he may get Dominic over, but that's because we'll see. It all comes down to if Rey Mysterio signs a sheet of paper. And I guess we can move on to that now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
we can transition right into that.
Yeah. So we talked about it the last couple weeks about Rey Mysterio Jr. and how his contract is ran out, and he is still doing stuff for WWE right now, and he's still deciding. They're still negotiating. Rey wants a pay raise because they're making way more money than they've ever made. He's way more valuable than just about any other time he's ever been right now. And there's also a second player at plate for his services. Word is from Fightful, right, Sean Rossap, that AEW.
I think it was Meltzer that reported that.
I saw Fightful. Anyway, whatever. One of the insider dirt sheet dudes that is prominent has reported that the AEW has matched Rey Mysterio's offer from WWE. The only holdup, it seems to be, is, or one would assume, is Dominic in his future, because we don't know how long he signed there, and you already know what's going to happen if he leaves. So I know what I would do if I was Rey Mysterio, but you got to remember, Rey's been in the game since 1990 or some shit like that, maybe 89. He might view this
very good businessman, has lots of friends,
right,
that are smart also,
right. I don't know if I don't know if his ideas have changed on the idea of somebody getting buried in one company and moving to another. If he feels like this is something that Dominic will not be able to survive to have a thriving career after he's buried, or if he realizes that like that people don't fall for that game no more. So I think that's really the two holdups: his son and whether or not he has evolved and talked to enough people to realize that like, nah, Dominic will still get chances after this if you leave elsewhere.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people suggest like just send Dominic to Shibata and then, you do what you do, Ray. Like I heard people say that. And, I don't think you can argue with Shibata. If he's in WWE, I don't know if he does have a match on SummerSlam coming up, right? He's going to be wrestling Seth Rollins, but say, that's real easy for them to wash their hands up. All right, beat him in 5 minutes and then like never book him again, like or whatever.
It's almost like right now it kind of seems like the high, like the 4-star, 5-star football recruit that is choosing between two rivals in the SEC or the ACC, and they're like, I'm gonna go here, and they're trying to leverage some things, in front of the scenes and also behind the scenes, if you catch my drift. And like the second somebody signs somewhere, that leverage is gone. And like, I understand that they think like the national signing deadline is SummerSlam, right? In theory, it's like, are we going to push my son or are we not? And I'm going to hold out until SummerSlam. I gotta tell Ray or anybody that's around Ray, I hope they hear this. You holding out to see what happens out to past SummerSlam is not going to stop them from burying your son after that. They'll just quickly, like, let's say, Ray holds out for another month until September.
Why'd you make us wait so long? Why'd you make us wait so long?
Until September, right? You can have your little moment or whatever else they do at SummerSlam, and then the second you sign with AEW or whatever else, or honestly, the second you sign back with WWE, they finna undo your moment. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Like, if it's me, right? If you're Tony Khan, fuck matching the deal. You have to exceed it, right? I know it is a pandemic, Ray is, 45 or whatever, but I mean, to get Rey Mysterio, I'm not, this is not Zack Ryder we're talking about. Like, this is not, even Matt Hardy or, Brody Lee. This is somebody else.
Right. We're talking about one of the short list of most influential wrestlers of the last 25, 30 years of wrestling. Yes, I get you.
Who would also have years of fresh matches. I mean, he does in both places, right? But
one will be done competently, one will not.
Correct. What are the odds that like he actually like gets to really go all out and get treated how he wants to get treated? Because this company's never treated him well. Like they've never like pushed him seriously. Like
right.
So like. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough for Ray because I imagine, like, looking at it, like, with trying to get Dominic established is like, all right, I mean, there's more than one place to do that now.
Yeah. I would like to know, or do you know this? Like, what is the situation with Dominic? Like, is he actually signed to WWE?
I don't know. I will have to check that.
Because, like, if he isn't, I don't know what the problem is. Like, Rey seems to be appears to be this honorable dude, and that's been the case for, 30 years. So, like, I'm sure he's going to finish out his program or whatever else. Like, let's say Dominic isn't signed, finish out the program, Seth pops out Dominic's eye too, and then they move or whatever else, right? And then they move on from there. But I don't. If it were me, maybe this is me being selfish as well, but like, I don't see the point in staying other than I'm trying to rack as much money as possible. And, Rey's from that generation of, I'm trying to rack as much money as possible. Right. So, like, there's that as well. And, I think that either way, Rey wins regardless, because either Rey's finna, make the money, make the offer, go to AEW, make a shit ton of money, or he goes back to WWE, make even more money, because it's like, I don't think that Vince would let Rey walk when he can up his offer. I don't think he would do that.
I think the only chance for, like, if Vince learned his lesson from Chris Jericho, because Vince gets real funny about older guys. Like, he let Chris Jericho go, thinking that, his best days are behind him, whatever, and turned out Jericho had another, like, hot drawing run in him all around the world.
He had arguably the best drawing run of his, actually not arguably, he did have the best drawing run of his whole entire career after that.
Right. So if Vince doesn't learn that lesson, I think Rey's in play. And if you're Rey and you are a, like, elite level worker that you are, he's always had a high price on the indies, and dude's a veteran of the business.
Yeah.
Are you insulted Vince McMahon doesn't want to give you more money, and you know what it is? Like, especially with all these, like, profits and projections, and WWE making more money than ever on TV, even in a fucking pandemic, than any year they've ever made. Like, Rey has to be like, if y'all want me, why don't y'all prove it? Why do, like, these people I don't even have a relationship established with, they're able to match me on day one? Yeah. So, like,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know that. I would think that's an insult.
Yeah, this would definitely turn into the respect thing. Obviously, I mean, even more than normal. Like, what this comes down to is, the rate or whatever else, and the rate is the amount of respect you command with, whatever relationship you're in or inside of an organization. So, I'm going to see where this goes. Like,
which one do you think Vince McMahon respects? Huh? Like, do you think he respects Rey asking him for more money? Because I would think he would.
Yeah, I ultimately what I think would, ultimately, we got to sit here and wait until we hear what the bump is, as far as now that he's gone somewhere else and gotten a counter offer that matches it. When they go back to the table, what this looks like, because they're going to pretty much have to give Rey, like, what it seems
what
like.
He want.
1.52 million per year. Otherwise, what are we talking about here? Like,
Eric Bischoff came back to TNT. Rey Mysterio might as well too.
Oh my god! Like, but seriously though, think about it. Like, we already know Rey was already, like, close to $1 million already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wants a pay raise, and you also look around and it's like, wait, you gave Anderson and Gallows Shawn Michaels 90s money? Are you out here? You lucky I don't ask you for $3 million a year, you jackasses,
bro. Like Rey really got them by the balls. Like, if they don't play ball with them, I think that's so stupid, because if Tony Khan gets his hands on Rey Mysterio, there are so many hot programs. He's going to know exactly what to do with them. They're going to do a rematch with Jericho. They're going to have him fight the fucking Lucha Brothers or align with them. Or whenever Pac comes back, they're going to put them in there together. Or there's this other guy named Kenny Omega he could wrestle.
Or he can wrestle Moxley. Or he can wrestle Cody. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. People that are actual game changers, this is the reason why Rey signed that short-term deal. He wasn't no dummy. There's a reason why he signed that 18-month deal, and they wanted him to sign long, and he was like, nah, I'm good, to get to this situation. And like, elite honestly,
level worker.
And at the time when he signed an 18-month deal, there is no fucking way that he thought that AEW would be doing as good as it's doing right now. So he's like, I done really came up. So, you know.
Get to free agency.
Yeah,
wrestlers.
like, shouts out to Rey Mysterio. Like, he, you know, this went into his favor far better than even I would have expected, or anybody reasonably would have expected. Like, AEW signed that 4-year deal. They got Kevin Durant to the Nets money right now. They're under that kind of contract. Like, yeah, man. I want to see when it comes to nut cutting time, because it's like, we gonna get here. Rubber's about to meet the road, and like, it's soon, very soon, because like, All Out's in September. Like, a decision will be made, and it will be made in the next few months or next few weeks, or where he goes. And he's already, there's no 90-day no compete, because that contract been ran out.
Yep, he could walk into anywhere right now.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, like,
play the game, Ray.
Yeah.
Make them pay you. Whoever it is, make them pay.
Yeah. Like, I selfishly, I'm sounding like LeBron talking about the Drake thing. Selfishly want him to end up in AEW. I want to see Ray versus Ray. I want to see that. I want to see Ray versus Ray.
Oh my God, that's a poster. That's a poster.
I know.
Ray versus Ray.
Hey, Rich, it's almost as if I've been thinking about this for like years now, isn't it? I've been thinking about this now for years. So, like,
Ray versus Sammy. Ray. You want to get him going. You want him to be a future superstar. I know a guy, Sammy Guevara, can wrestle.
Dude, like, the idea of Rey Mysterio in 2020, like, wrestling in main events, like, I mean, like, championship level main events is like, so, and while he can still do it, like, if you had told me 5 years ago this was possible, I would be like, I wouldn't believe it. But like, we are here and we have seen it. Like, Ray is still great. Yeah, man, and like the game, and like, you know, he's been so influential that the game has moved his way, like, especially in AEW. Like, that is the style. Like, the house style is Raymond Mysterio Jr.'s house style. So yeah, man, I would love to see it. But you know, either way, he wins. So, you know, congratulations to Rey Mysterio Jr. Just
work this game. Yeah. Don't let this game work you. Like,
who would have thought that in 1996, the first time we saw Ray, that he would now become like the new Kevin Nash, the new Scott Hall.
Oh my God! You know, man. we need the denim Rey Mysterio Jr. outfit. You know. You know, we need Ray to join the Dark Order. You know, like I was saying a couple of days ago, Ray already in the mask on you boys.
Stupid. Yeah, and I said that to you. I was like, there is no chance.
The Dark Order motif.
Think of the dusty, crusty incels that are the Dark Order. And now imagine Rey Mysterio in one of his Louis masks or one of his Gucci masks, right? Or when he's out there wearing one of them Versace silk shirts, and he's sitting next to them. Not happening, not possible. That is disrespectful. Hey, you stop this.
There are levels to the Dark Order, much like Scientology. You know, like, you know.
Oh, so Ray's 03.
You know,
he's
Ray's like the high level Dark Order. Like you aspire to be like Ray.
He's gone clear.
Yeah. Yes. You know, he's at the top. Like, he's just, you know, he's right there. Brody looks at him as an equal. You know.
That would be funny to pair them, like, if you Brody Lee versus Rey Mysterio, and like the first thing is like babyface versus heel, and then they talk about, like, you know, they play off of this contract stipulate or a dispute right now, that or negotiation. That would be funny. It'd be petty as hell, but it'd be funny. Yeah, man. Like, look, think of another match you can actually make some money off of. Rey Mysterio versus Marco Stunt. You could do that, and people will watch the hell out of that.
The
match.
Big man Rey Mysterio offense. The monster Rey Mysterio against Marco Stunt. Rey Mysterio versus the Jungle Boy. MJF trying to unmask Rey Mysterio.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You can do a whole lot.
Yeah, a whole lot.
Hopefully we get to see it.
Okay, so what do we got next? Talked about Raw, talked about Rey Mysterio. You want to just go to Wednesdays now, or is there something else we were supposed to get to?
There was something else, but I can't remember it right now. So I guess before we get to Wednesdays, we got to let you guys know, about our sponsor of the show, Manscaped, the number one tool for your family jewels. This is, when I look at the Manscaped joint and, thinking about always having to be, groomed cleanly. There's fresh nothing else I'd rather. Yeah, fresh to death. Like Outkast says, ain't nobody, dope as me. I'm just so fresh, so clean. I just Manscaped. So they've got that 7,000 RPM motor. They have the LED light so you can see what you're doing. You got the 90 minutes. So if you want to, detail and make sure you're doing it correctly, oh yeah, you'll be there nice and smooth. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code SUPLEX at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code word SUPLEX.
I just thought to myself, like, one of these days, it's going to get to a point where you be like, you try to come up with these reads for Manscaped, and you be like, yeah, next, when you want to get camera ready, get on Manscaped. Because don't tell me some of y'all ain't out here.
On tape.
Oh, yes. There's no way. What? Y'all not. Some of y'all freaks on here. All right.
Look, it's not 1984. It's not 1985, 86. None of that. We ain't trying to see nothing,
All right, man. Let's get to Wednesday. AEW Dynamite. Take it away, Rich.
Yeah, man. So last week I was very down in the dumps and upset about the show and just thinking it was like, good God, like what's going on here? None of that happened this week. I was very happy this week. I thought they bounced back tremendously. Couple great matches, some awesome promos. And it just felt like a much more alive, promotion. And I was very happy I didn't have to come on here and rip them up again. It's like, they heard me. So, anytime, I take a little credit for someone in the office listening to, One Nation Radio, I will go ahead and assume that, but let me get these results pulled up. So, basically we started with a 12-man tag, which was the Elite and FTR against the Dark Order. So the cool thing was they were already kind of, facing off, like no entrances, straight to it. This was awesome. The Dark Order team was Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, 5 and 9. Now 9 has never been introduced at any point, but some people have done some digging and discovered that it was Brandon Cutler, and it makes total sense. Look at the body type, look at how he hopped to the top rope, look at who he was in there with, Nick Jackson, for most of the time when he was in there. With the chemistry, seemed like it was Brandon Cutler would make a lot of sense there. I hope that they have a way to kind of acknowledge that if Cutler comes back to actually competing as Brandon Cutler somewhere, because then the record, he technically would have a win, but that's neither here nor there. This was awesome. I thought this was a phenomenal match layout, great action. I went 4.5 on this. This was it was just awesome. In the between the finish, the FTR leaving, and it looks like he was actually going to hit Kenny again. They haven't looked like they were going to hit each other with the finish, but Kenny got pulled out of the ring. Then he catches the fucking big clothesline from Brody Lee. The Brody Lee and Hangman section was awesome. I want to see those guys fight. And also, saw Kenny over Brody Lee. That was pretty cool. But Nick Jackson was phenomenal in this match as normal. Alan Angels bumping for everybody. This was like, this is how you do it, man. I'd never seen no 12-man tag before, but if this is what they like, sign me up.
Yeah. I thought it was a great match. I'm not as high as you. I gave it 4 flat. I thought the match was in a certain gear, like stuck in third gear until Hangman finally came back. I was sitting there waiting like, all right, like, we'll end it now. Like, they're down 3-6. Fuck out of here. I don't care. I understand that like 5 and 9 are dweebs, but like, Jesus Christ, come on now. And then once Hangman came back, I was like, okay. And then Hangman, had his run where, his basically, effectively a hot tag. And it was great. I just like you, I very much like the interaction between Brody and Hangman and Brody and Kenny. The Brody and Hangman stuff was earned because they've been, interacting the last couple weeks. So that was really fun, and I hope there's actually a match. I want to see them down the line. Trying to think what else. Yeah, Nick Jackson went crazy because, Nick Jackson has that running tag match like he normally does. Yeah, that's what he does. That was fun as hell. I do like the end where like they thought they got you to bite on, or they got me at least to bite on, slightly anyway, that like this underman team down 4-6 was going to win. And then, at the end,
bro, I thought they were going to win the whole time.
I never thought they were going to win. Like once you go down like 3, I'm like, nah. Like I thought they could have won if they were down 1 man, but not 2. So anyway, once Brody comes in, they botched or not botched, but like he misses the clothesline, but he sold it anyway and whatever. Got out of there with the win. Gives Brody a big win over a bunch of big stars, and he's really the only guy. In a way, it's almost like Walter in the Imperium versus Undisputed Era match when Wolf goes down, where it's like, well, now we're down 3-4, so I have to be fucking awesome in this match against these other guys. So in a way, it was. I see some of the parallels in that. Even though that was unintentional, this was intentional. But yeah, I'm interested in what they have to do with the Dark Order. And like, yes, this does make me think of. It did make me think a bit of the last show of Dynamite last year, but this one was done way better. Like, they have elevated Dark Order, and they feel more like, not just a complete afterthought like they were, 7 months ago. So, or 8 months ago. So, that means they've done a really good job with Dark Order, especially, galvanizing around Brody Lee. So, this is one of those where it's like, you think about that and you think about like how down all of us were, on that last show of the year where they beat up all the stars. It's like, now it's like, they were outmanned and then they still put them away. And like the biggest star on there is, where he is now, and he got that big win. Nice. It shows that like, even when they make mistakes, like they eventually come back around and work on things and, get it back right.
Yeah, this was this was an excellent way to start the show, and it was just like, it felt like, oh man, this is like the way the shows need to be opening. Like, we expect them to. After that, we had announcement of Best Friends and versus Santana and Ortiz. Said they are going to have the debate. Big Swole is going to face an opponent of Britt Baker's choosing. Commentary, we had Taz, Shivani, and Ross. Of course, Excalibur still not there. He will be returning August 26th. I heard. So I don't know if this was like one of those silent suspensions or them like gathering more stuff, because I've just heard that Excalibur is the main culprit in like the PWG thing, because there's just so much video of his. I was talking to Josh about it, that there's so much shit, and apparently he has apologized for this stuff before, but I don't know if that was, I don't know where that's located. So I was talking to Josh and I was like, well, if he apologized before, he should have no problem coming out and apologizing again, talking about what he's learned in that scenario, and always be ready to stand on an apology at any time. and atone for what you did at any time. Like, I think that if we're going to quote unquote forgive you or just let you, assume back where you were, and you don't want to be like Hoganized where we're just like, fuck you forever. You should be able to be like, all right, at any given time, somebody wants to question me about this. Like, I'll have answers ready.
Right.
I think that's fair trade.
Right. And they touched on the point, it's just like simple terms, like, we didn't know who the fuck you were when this happened, and we didn't know who the fuck you were when you apologized for this. So, like, it's back in, like, you're in this elevated platform or whatever else. It's like, and like you said, if your apology was real, there's no problem to apologize again, right? So, we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
I would like to know, some of the machinations around or logistics around, him not being off air. Like, I heard it was talked about, like, they took him off air, or he was either his decision or their decision to take him off air because he didn't want to be the center of or be part of a story while the show was going on. And, like, I think that that's appropriate. I would like to know, given what they've done as a precedent with Guevara, with, you doing something in the past before you were at AEW, now you're in AEW, get fined and your quote unquote, checks are sent to charity. What is going on, or what is the deal with Excalibur?
Right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you've already, opened that Pandora's box. Now, what is the action for or recourse for this now? And I would like to hear this eventually from AEW / Excalibur.
Yep. So after that, we got Jon Moxley cutting a promo. This promo was awesome.
Yeah.
He said he had a lot of demons earlier in his career. He said people tried to talk me out of fights and I didn't listen. So he understands, why Darby is fighting him tonight. He sees a lot of Darby Allin in himself. He said the roles are reversed and now he's a veteran talking sense to the young guy. He said Darby's his favorite guy in AEW and he doesn't want to be responsible for Ender. I just hope he stays down when it's time. And it was like, man, this is good. Like, these are all very, like, it's not hard at all. Like, I'm fighting a younger version of myself. I just hope, like, and unfortunately I might have to hurt myself, essentially.
Yeah.
So he said, I know this guy's going to beat me one day, but today's not the day.
Yeah. Very well done. I think he also mentioned the part where, they did the just horrific looking spot where, he gave them the Death Rider off of the second rope. So yes. He mentioned how he almost snapped his neck, or he had to, almost paralyze him to get him down the last time. So yeah, we talk about all the time, like, he comes on, almost every week and he keeps hitting these stand-up doubles. He laid this one out to a triple. Like, this home run is coming eventually. And I'm like, we got to talk about it. And, Sam, Sam's obviously a huge, has been championing, Ambrose / Moxley for the longest. Like, given the way the year has been, for a lot of people, not in-ring performer, not in-ring rest of the year, like, actual, not most outstanding performer, like, but wrestler of the year, Moxley's gotta be a candidate, right? Or am I just tripping on this?
Yes. Unquestionably he has to be a candidate because, like, if we look at the formula from last year, right? He at least meets that. Like, doing big business in two different companies, having critically acclaimed work at the same time in two different companies, stabilizing, like, he's been a awesome ratings, like, mover, right, as his time as the champion for most of it. I mean, he had, like, a couple times he struggled, but I mean, it was a pandemic. So, yeah,
everybody's going to be fair, all of his peers are also going to have some of that. Well, hold on. One thing, to get back to your point, like, all of his peers are also going to have those stumbling blocks too. Yeah. His pay-per-view work in AEW, like, building those programs, even on short notice, it was a little thin with Brody, but they more than made up for it in the match. So yeah, I think he's definitely on the short, like, he would have to be on your short list. Yeah, like, of Wrestler of the Year candidates. Yeah, like, right now for me, off the top of my head, I'd have to think like the two people that come to mind immediately are Kenny and him. There's really nobody besides Keith Lee that I really am thinking about from the perspective of WWE. I mean, that's not fair. I would say Drew, but Drew has this problem where, like, his work is good, his promos are good, however, like, he's not drawing in, you know, that's one of those weird things, like, with WWE, like, how do you, separate the fact that, like, he's on a sinking ship from the fact that, like, he is doing very well while the ship is sinking, and, like, you know, I would throw Mayu in there. She would never, you know, win, but, like, she's also, you know, up there, if you watch, you know, more wrestling than what the normal winners are out of this, but she has no real chance. And, you know, honestly, like, if I would still I would throw Okada in there just because of, like, it's the Tokyo Dome stuff, but that's really all. Like, I'm not throwing.
He's falling out of. He's not a real candidate this year.
Yeah, like, he's gonna, like, what's gonna have to save
like him and Naito are not candidates.
Oh, Naito definitely not. Fuck no. Like, he's no. But as far as, like, Okada, like, we'll see what happens once the G1 comes around. I think if things change once that comes into play, but yeah, that's kind of the people that I think are, unless I'm missing somebody, those people that immediately come to mind, like Drew, Keith Lee, Moxley, Omega, Mayu. Yeah, and who you have winning it right now? I think I might pick Moxley.
I might pick Moxley right now,
yeah.
Just because, like, he's been, like, a main eventer,
right? And then
he's been a world champion,
right?
So,
and
like,
the best feuds,
if you're the world
like,
champion, it means more than being the tag team champion as things are set up right now.
Yeah, and then, like, you think of best feuds this year in all the wrestling, like, he's in 2 of them. Like, the Jericho versus Inner Circle, or the Moxley versus Jericho Inner Circle thing was great. The Cage thing was great. We'll see what happens with this MJF thing.
And Minoru Suzuki.
Oh yeah, that too. Like,
him and Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah. Moxley might be wrestler of the year. Like, yeah. It's crazy.
Like, what if you pair this with the second half of 2019? Like, that's like a nice 12-month stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is. And, you know, it would have been even better had he not had the the Mercer thing flare back up, because I really believed the match they were going to have between him and Omega, the first match before it got postponed, was probably, I would have liked that. I'm pretty sure I would have liked that more than what they end up doing at the Lights Out thing, but, you know, it was still a great match.
Yeah, so I think you definitely got to start talking about Moxley. It's like one that kind of hits you once you start adding it all up. So
yeah, are we shortchanging Cody because of our biases against him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think somebody else we mentioned too.
I think you can mention him. I think he would be a candidate. I don't think he's a.
Yeah.
I might actually.
Yeah. Right. Like, I still have. I will put him third in AEW.
Floyd.
I'll put him third in AEW. But he's somebody that, like, you know, we'll see how this shakes out. But, like, he has the matches, he has the promo work, he has the feud with the MJF thing. Like, he belongs to be. He's somebody that should be mentioned. Yeah.
So we got Best Friends versus Proud and Powerful. I like this more than most Best Friends matches recently. I did not like the fact that they won, but seeing what happened after,
it makes sense.
I understand. Yeah. I'm not being Proud and Powerful with fucking Best Friends, but
why does it feel like they have been trying to get Best Friends in some sort of no DQ type match / street fight for, like, months now? It was originally supposed to be like the Lucha
Brothers,
right? And now, like, all right, well, fuck it, like, let's I guess, I don't know what happened to that. I mean, obviously we know what happened in the pandemic and Pac never came in, and they were going to do it like with Orange Cassidy and Pac. But now it seems like, he's doing Orange Cassidy's doing the Jericho thing. So it's like, well, we want to do something. All right, go out there and, do the thing. Where do you think they do this at? Do you think they do this on TV? Cause I don't think this is big enough for, pay-per-view.
Maybe it's on TV. Maybe they could do it as they could do a big street brawl for TV for the pay-per-view and put it on like third or something. The only thing is I don't know what the Bucks are doing. So I would think the Bucks are going to get that second tag team match, whatever it is at the pay-per-view. I don't know if they're going to do a third one. So
that's another reason why I think they're going to do this on TV. And also, given what happened with Loomis, they're going to have some big ass, I would assume what they're made out of this, North American thing. I think they're going to have two big ass matches, so they kind of need something to combat that on TV. So I think it'd be better served to be on TV as well.
Yeah. So, what's his name? Ortiz got rolled up at the end. I think this is all part of getting Trent that tough guy credibility eventually for when they split him off.
Don't we all
Promises
want Trent?
Were made?
Yeah. Don't we all want Trent just to be solo? I feel like me.
I don't clamor for it, but it's well, clearly that's, I think, the design or whatever. But it's funny because I like both of the wrestlers, except when they team up, the team doesn't excite me. It doesn't do anything for me.
I feel like you could do. Have we seen the versus the Young Bucks yet?
Yes.
We have? How was that?
The Young Bucks beat them on TV. It was really good. That was the same night that Jericho had the ticket, and then the Dark Order was in the ring. He was cheering for the Dark Order. The match after that was Bucks versus Best Friends.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
Okay. So that was October.
That was last year, I believe.
Yeah, that's October of last year, yeah. That's episode 3 or 4, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you're right. I think I watched Trent and no knock against Chuck E. T, but it's them being this. Yeah, it's us. This disaffected feeling while they're together. I don't. I get the tongue-in-cheekness of it and why people like it, but I don't think enough people will like it a lot to where this has long-term things. And honestly, it's we could use more men's singles, right? There are people that you could quote unquote traditionally push in that sort of way. So I think Trent could do. I mean, we've seen it with his match with Kenny in Georgia. I feel like the best of him is as a single. You can do Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor as a tag team. That could definitely work. It could be a tag team. And I think, honestly, given that the act would be more comedy or whatever else, it might actually end up being better for Chuck E. T in the long run as far as making money, being tied to that merch. And you could absolutely make Orange Cassidy and Chuck E. T a tag team champion level act if you wanted to, given how over Orange Cassidy is. Their matches, yeah, but it could get over to that level. So what was next on the show?
I just remember what we missed. What I couldn't think. It was the women's tag team tournament, but we can go to that after this.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
So the MJF did a pre-tape skit of him at his campaign headquarters. Lee Johnson was back there. MJF yelled at him for hanging up the poster wrong. He told a woman to smile, which is like a big no-no, or not talk at all. He said because he has a title match at All Out, he's not letting up on his campaign. They cut to a look at the poll statistics. Moxley was trending at negative 88%. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it was hilarious. And MJF was up 100%. The camera person asked if he was concerned that Darby Allin might win the belt tonight, and the MJF said it would be a real shame if the 125-pound emo kid won the title, and I had to face him. So more funny stuff with MJF, and kind of like, okay, there's a little angle here.
Yeah, I still don't feel like he is main event material yet, but they need to start interacting. Like, Moxley and MJF need to start interacting immediately, like, so I can, once they, go eye to eye, or, trade jabs in the mic, I can kind of see where they're going as far as maybe be able to feel it. But like, MJF feels like he's doing mid-card stuff. He just does. But we'll see. What was after this?
So Matt Hardy was in the ring for a promo. He cut the promo that he's been cutting on blogs and BTE for weeks. He said he came to AEW because he wanted a place where he was respected, where he could be an attraction and give back to the young talent. And he's going to help and basically drop all his gimmicks. He said he's taking Private Party under his wing, and he was trying to reach out to Sammy Guevara, but Sammy Guevara gave him the middle finger. Essentially, he said he no longer wants to help Sammy; he wants to hurt Sammy. So Matt looks dead in the camera. They show Sammy Guevara sneaking out from underneath the ring, and he says, "Sammy Guevara, I knew you come," and then they fucking ran it. They had an awesome brawl, which like peaked with Sammy Guevara throwing a chair at Matt Hardy's face, and it buzzing him hard way. Apparently, this was not a gimmick, James. This was real.
Okay, well, it sure looked like gimmick blood to me, but good,
Look, at first I thought so, but this was real. Apparently, Sammy got a talking to.
And also, once it happened, right? Like, the way they cut away from the camera and then he cut back and he's being like, oh, okay. But okay, like, if it was hard way, it was hard way. Have you seen the cut on his head?
Yes.
It looks like a
big
blade. It looks like a blade. But, alright, whatever. But, just watching it, I was like, yo, blood again? Jesus.
One Nation Radio, always ahead.
Yes.
Remember when Dustin Rhodes was rolling around on the mat for 25 minutes, not moving and bleeding all over Turner Network television, we were telling y'all this time would come where it would be like, oh, more blood. Like, it would come. And so this blood, which was real blood, which shouldn't have happened. Right. Like, immediately we're all like, well, Like, I had to find out later that it was real.
Right. Right. And I'm just finding out about it now through you. But yeah, cause I saw a picture and it was like, that looks like a blade cut, but whatever. Yeah, so, no harm, no foul, but we were going to get to, later in the show, cause they did it twice, cause two people playing on this fucking show. But yeah,
Sammy gave him that 450 off the stage through the table. Excellent. I'm sure they're going to have like a match at All Out. Could it be the Cracker Barrel Clash, James?
Oh yeah, it is that time of year. Maybe.
Could you give Sammy Guevara, because we know the man does not give a fuck. The last time we saw him on pay-per-view in a singles match, like, that man did like the 450 off the ladder through a table on Darby Allin.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with it. I wasn't thinking this would be a pay-per-view match, but we'll see. Like, I'm trying to see how this shakes out, because if they do Jericho Orange Cassidy again, actually no, that's probably not even going to happen. That's going to be, because that's going to be on next week's show, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe they blow that off then. But I'm thinking like between like the Young Bucks / Elite and FTR, and and Cody's got to have a match, and Moxley and MJF trying to, in the women's match that was probably going to be Sheeta versus Nyla, trying to figure out like where this stuff kind of goes, a few weeks out. Maybe that makes the card. Maybe they put that, somewhere high profile on the show. We'll see.
So they cut away to the parking lot, and Santana and Ortiz used the Mad Ball and the sledgehammer and beat up Trent's mom, Sue's van. They spray painted Sue in capital letters on the hood of the car and sprayed an X through it. Property destruction. I thought Santana and Ortiz looked way cooler afterward. This was awesome, and Trent was not happy about this. Yeah.
I guess that's what he gets for like using his mom's vehicle and not using his own. Like, what the fuck's going on? Why is he treating it like he's 15 years old, 16 years old, and like he's taking the car to high school, or he's taking the car to a homecoming or whatever else. It's like what's going on?
Man acting like a child.
Yeah, like how old is Trent? Is Trent older than us?
He's our age or older.
Whatever, man. Whatever. I think the part where they actually see the car, it gets worse because they bash out all the windows and they spray paint the hood, and then like when they finally see it, like I don't know how far along when they actually see it, but like once they get to the vehicle, Trent and Chucky T, and they see, and that shit's on bricks, I howled.
Yes, bricks. Trent's promo was funny that he cut.
Yes, you're going to apologize.
How angry he was. Yeah, you're going to apologize. Yes.
What? Don't you? Hey, bro, we passed apologize. You finna pay for this, bro. What's wrong with you?
You gonna pay with your ass? That's what it sounds like. But up next,
apologize to my sweet mother Sue.
Yes. Look, Sue Beretta, she was getting recruited by the Dark Order. Now she's had her van terrorized.
Wait, what?
So a couple, I would probably say the first time she showed up, like when she did the match with, or when she drove him in, next week on BT. Yes. Okay. The next week on BTE, like they flashed and she was hanging out with the Dark Order, and the Dark Order was just like trying to give her something to drink, essentially like the Kool-Aid or whatever. And she was like, "Oh, these are nice guys" or whatever. And then basically the best friend was like, "Hey man, come over here. Like you can't be trying to recruit my mom. What's wrong with you?" Like I think Silver and Reynolds were involved in Brody Lee and shit. Shit is hilarious. Dark Order's ruled BTE for like the past month. And that's essentially why we got this match here, it seems like. So, we had Matt Cardona and Cody teaming up against Alex Reynolds and John Silver. And I guess can we just go ahead and open the John Silver fan club, right here on the air for One Nation Radio? Because, James, I was told this match was meant to, give someone a new start, to expose a fresh coat of paint for a new star. Right. Someone that needs a look, someone that is trying to get their career started in AEW, off with a bang. I think they accomplished it. John Silver, did these things.
Silver was, it's funny that like the whole match was building towards Cody, selling his ass off to build his hot tag for, Cardona. And then, but meanwhile, you leave the match, at the end of the match, you're like, who's the best wrestler you saw out of these four wrestlers? Silver. Who was the second best wrestler you saw out of these four? Cody. Who was the match designed to get over? Matt Cardona. What's going on? It wasn't like it was some great match either. It was a fine, good match, but it's like, Cody, the best wrestler I saw in that match was Silver. Cody sold his ass off spectacularly well to get it in order to hand it over to Cardona. And Cardona was like, all right, well, he basically had the same hot tag he's had that we've seen before.
I learned nothing.
Right, when he was tagging with, what's his
Mojo.
Not Mojo, Curtis. Myers.
Fandango.
No, not Fandango.
Oh, Brian Myers. Brian
Myers was his real name. It was the name of WWE.
Kurt Hawkins.
Kurt Hawkins, that's right. So it's like, we've seen it before. We know he can do this. Like, nobody.
Yeah, I learned nothing.
Yeah, like, we don't think that, like, Matt Cardona is a bad wrestler. We just think he's an average wrestler. And
I like this Tiger Driver 98, I believe. I think he did like a nice Tiger Driver. That was like the one, move that I saw.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Standard fare. They gave him a bunch of pyro, so I guess when you hang out with Cody,
Oh yeah, he did.
Lots of pyro and all that. And well, I liked the match, but I was most impressed with Silver and Reynolds. And John Silver, baby pack, as I say.
He's built like Pax. Yeah. Speaking of people being babies, right? Ridge Holland, baby Brock.
Oh yeah, you mean Luke Menzies?
Yes.
Get a case of the Menzies,
bro. If you watch that fucking that triple threat he was in, all he did, like, this is what you watch it, you're like, this is why NXT is still so much better than. On his worst, they still better than the main roster. It's like, I'm sorry, I almost called him Luke Menzies. They brought in, Ridge Holland, and all they asked him to do between everything else that was going on between, Priest and Lorcan, just do power moves. That's all we asked you to do. And he went out there and it was impressive. He looked like, maybe he's not, maybe we gave him too much shit. Like, that's how well he did in this match. But anyway, back to this, I'm just waiting for them to, I think the real story of this match is after the match, where they go they're walking towards the back, the babyface walk to the back, and finally, after I don't know how fucking long it's been, Scorpio Sky shows up on Dynamite television, and he looks at Cody, halfway in the tunnel, looks at his title, knocks on the title, and walks away, and then next week, or this coming week's show, we're going to get Scorpio Sky versus Cody for the TNT title. A match that you've been anticipating for a few weeks now, right, Rich?
I think I was on Twitter with this like weeks ago, saying Scorpio Sky is coming for you, nigga. Like the classic Booker T, like Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky coming for you, like, because I just noticed like win after win after win, like, and you can just see. The guy's building momentum. He's winning, and then right here. So the question is, what happens now? I like Floyd's idea.
What is Floyd's idea?
This should go to a 20 draw. And then, in the frustration that Cody has been, that he's been showing over the last couple, times he's been wrestling, like he was frustrated against Sonny Kiss. He was frustrated, I believe in the Eddie Kingston match, if I'm not mistaken, going outside himself, but he realizes he can't beat this fucking guy. Like he didn't lose to him, but he can't fucking beat him. And then they have to do the match at All Out, essentially with the draw serving as like Scorpio Sky, like, look, man, all them other dudes you fought, you beat them. You couldn't beat me. What's up? And that's how you go to the match at All Out. And maybe you switch the title there. You could switch the title this week, but I think you're leaving some on the table. Like, you're leaving a whole storyline on the table if you swap the belt next week, I think.
Yeah. That could happen. You know what else could also happen?
He could take the Crossroads 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, he could beat Scorpio Sky, and then they do Cody and Cardona at the pay-per-view. I think that's more likely to happen.
That would be a massive mistake. That would be a massive mistake, and I will destroy them if they do that, right? And like, it's not only the fact that them doing that, right? It's like the conversation we had way before this was a thing, like happening immediately upon Cardona's entrance to the promotion, like immediately, pushing somebody out the way that, is a core talent you started the promotion with. I would like to, see them do the 20 minutes. And then, of course, you could even lean in on my Cody is Rocky from Rocky 3. Like, you can lean in on that. He's been fighting all these setups. Meanwhile, this guy, Scorpio Sky, has been out here brutalizing motherfuckers out here. And you've been ducking this man and not wanting it. Put it together. It works. It works.
We'll see what happens on a Wednesday. I expect a good match, though. I expect a very good match.
So after that, we had the AEW Super Wednesday 2020 debate. So Justin Roberts introduced Eric Bischoff. That's right, Eazy-E, back on Turner Network Television. It just felt so amazing to see TNT on the lower right-hand corner and then seeing Eric Bischoff. That's something we haven't seen in 20 years, James. How did you feel seeing Eric Bischoff here?
He does not have the fastball anymore, but he's still very capable. He's still more than capable.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's because he didn't get a chance to ham it up in the way that he used to on TV, but like, he was very, very reserved and like very much like, I understand it was Bischoff, but like it could have been it could have been pretty much anyone else that was doing this, and you wouldn't have felt any real difference. Which is like, we saw him on WWE television. We saw him on Nitro. Like, that dude was a dynamic character. So to see that it wasn't there at least that night. I don't know if they're bringing him back or whatever else. I hope they kind of don't bring him back often, but we'll see what they do in the months and weeks and years to come with doling out Bischoff.
Yeah, it was it's a one-time only thing with Bischoff, it seems like. But that brings us to a point I missed with Cardona. We were talking about last week. I guess we assumed that he's signed with a promotion like long term. Apparently his initial deal is for 5 dates. So it's kind of like a test out period, but that would seem to think it would run to All Out and then reevaluate, right?
Right.
I hope he's not wrestling Cody.
Reevaluate this man as a champion.
Reevaluate the booker, like.
Like, honestly, I think what's going to happen. I think what could happen is, they could build towards All Out. It's All Out, right? Because I always confuse all in always.
There was only one. There will only ever be one All In.
Look,
the rest of them are All Out.
I'm gonna just start calling this shit All In 3, so I don't have to like people know what it is. Anyway, has his match there. Cody beats him, and then like you get the thumbs up or the thumbs down from like somebody in the back, and then like if they are impressed with the match, you get the thumbs up, and then Cardano turns on him. then he signs the contract. Then like you get like yeah we want to sign him. Thumbs up. All right, cross this man, bust his head open, blade job, bleeding buckets. Tune in next week. Tune in on Wednesday. Like, you already know what it is with them. Like, they just waiting to do that shit. You know they are. So, we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. Like, I expect Cardona to pass whatever test they're giving him, and then
because he will have the answers to the test beforehand.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we'll see what happens with the re-signing. Like at the end of the day, there's always impact, right? There's always impact.
Yeah, he can go reform his tag team with Brian Myers. Do that. Okay. Get hype. Or no, the wrong team.
That's That's the other one.
Play with the toys.
Oh my god.
So the Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho debate, I don't want to go through the whole thing, but it was awesome. Orange Cassidy did this long, detailed answer about global warming, which was fucking hilarious because it's the first time he cared about something. This was like a star-making, I would say, segment for Cassidy. Like, for anyone that didn't get it with him, that didn't really get why he acted the way he did. It kind of like broke him out of that box, I would say. And Jericho was just awesome. Like he was literally throwing alley-oops for this man, with his promos and talking about, he's an embarrassment to the wrestling business and pretty much just everything you would want the evil person to say to the babyface to rebut. And this one is going to be a good match next week. And we already seen these guys have a great match.
Yeah, very good segment overall. Something that is meant specifically for the sports entertainment enthusiast. It worked out pretty much without a hitch. I thought Jericho was excellent in it. I thought that Orange Cassidy was good in it. I thought that Bischoff was pretty good in it. I thought that this was, for a non-traditional talking segment, this was about as good as any of them you ever seen.
It had the classic Chris Jericho fingerprints of somebody's like biggest match in someone's life, but it was flipped on Chris Jericho. He's like, well, what about you, Chris? This is the biggest match of your life too, because what if you lose to the guy that puts his hands in his pockets? And it was just like the light bulb went off.
It would have been funnier. What happens if you lose to someone that doesn't care? That would have been fun. Like, you can't say that, but in my mind, that's what he really wants to say, and I would have howled. What if you lose someone that doesn't give a fuck? Like,
so,
like, Orange Cassidy is like the babyface version of Jay Cutler that we never got.
Oh my god. Because Jay Cutler was always booed.
Yes.
Even his own fans. Like, so, which way did they go with this? Because I don't know where you go with Orange Cassidy if you let him win, right? Both the champs are still baby faces at the moment.
Right.
Do you go Lance Archer or something like that?
I think you could go with MJF after Moxley sends him packing.
So I'm thinking they might switch the title.
I don't think that at all. I mean, why?
Because MJF has been undefeated for essentially the whole time now.
Yeah, so is Moxley.
But if he beats MJF, what does that really do for Moxley? I don't know what it does for him. If MJF wins, he's had this undefeated record this whole time, and he gets to break through as like a guy, especially if the match is great, which I have no worries about MJF wrestling.
I'm not concerned about the match. I'm concerned about, like, why would you make a guy that's not even close to being one of the 5 most over guys in the company the champion? Like, are we going to? I mean, I'm not saying it's the evil thing because MJF's a better wrestler in evil, but like, are we doing this now where it's like you have to be Kenny Omega you have to be Kenny Omega or Cody or Jericho or Moxley to win a title, or somebody that's that dope to do it? And like MJF, the only good reason, in my opinion, to make MJF the champion is for Cody to eventually take the belt off of him in the future. But then again, you can't even do that because they had that stupid fucking stipulation. So I take that back. I forgot. As I said it, I remember, oh yeah, they can't ever do that. Yeah, so I just don't see MJF at that level. I just don't. Maybe in a year, maybe in 6 months, but right now.
But think about everything with MJF. We've said that about him every step of the way. Everything's been too fast for him. This would just be what's already seeming like been happening. Like him and Cody doing the split way too early. Him beating Cody immediately after that. Yeah. Him and Wardlow teasing dissension, what seems like very early. I think like to flip that, like, because I don't know what it's going to be, because like it's almost like you're damn if you do, damn if you don't.
I'm really saying like this, like if he's going to be your champion, I'm not picking anybody the champion that should never main event or should almost never main event unless he's in there with the right guy. Like if he needs to be in there with the right guy, then that means he's not a main eventer. Put the guy that's the right guy and make him the champion. Like he's not there yet.
I disagree.
He's the dude that comes out there and says, we're in the middle of a rings war, so you pull out the big guns and then fucking loses. Like, he's that guy. Like, he's not Moxley or Jericho or Kenny or Cody. He's just not on that level yet. I think I'm not saying that he won't ever get there, but he's not there yet.
I think that he's not only there, but he can compete, especially amongst them. Like, it's once he's around that, like, he's going to rise to whatever level. He's clearly held back some of the ability that he's not showed.
You're misunderstanding
of late.
Me, Rich, you're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying as far as a skill or talent level. I'm talking about as far as viewers buying in and tuning in to watch AEW and staying around for segments at the end of shows or in the segments that he's in. He's not on the level as far as the captivating the audience. That's what I mean. I don't mean as far as his skill level. I have no problems about his skill level. I'm talking about dude's not over to that level yet.
I don't think A, we don't know that because of the pandemic, and B,
but I mean, look,
he's clearly been a plan from day one. He's been protected insanely from day one. He's gone over Cody on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This guy can handle the heat. He can handle the promos. I think he's gonna win. Like, and I think it's gonna be like, wow. Like this is gonna be them attempting to break somebody that didn't go through New Japan, that didn't go through WWE. This is our fucking guy. Like, I think that's what's at stake here. And if you just feed him to Moxley, it's like you kind of lose that. I'm not saying he can't do it later, but like you're not going to get the big impact now. And he's 24 years old or 25 years old. It's like, I think what better time, especially right now. If it doesn't work, you can take the belt off him when the fans come back.
I think there are two different things here. I think that like me and you have totally different expectations of when the fans will be coming back. Because I don't think the fans will be coming back for a fucking year. So so you tell me that, I'm like, he's gonna be the champion for a fucking year? I do not want to watch that. I just don't. Yeah, I just do not see like. I just don't see the point of like guys winning the title, they defend it one time and then they drop the belt at the next show. Like, I don't want to see a champion for 6 months from station to station, and that would be like this precedent they're setting if they do this with MJF. MJF has been built so well that like he can afford to fucking lose. It's not the end of the world if your heel loses a match. And also it's like,
well, that's been his whole thing. I've never been beaten, so he wouldn't have that anymore.
Well, he's already lost before. So like,
would you be able to just give him something else?
Sorry?
Like, he's never been pinned or submitted in singles. That's what he's kind of, getting at here.
Is there something else you could give him? I don't know. Have him beat Hangman.
Because you put him and Warlow together, like, I think it works. I don't know who his opponents are. That's the only, like, I've dipped one foot in the MJF winning the world title pool. For me to dig my second foot in would be to be like, all right, who are the baby faces we could have him fight? Like, that's what the part I'm trying to figure out.
And actually have a good program. The only answer would have been Cody, and they fucked that. Unless you're going to go immediately to a rematch, or you do Jericho versus MJF, you can do that. Turn Jericho babyface or whatever after this. But it's like, you got to do some machinations if you make MJF. I didn't even think about this that far either. But like, if you turn him make him the champion, who are the baby faces that are ready for him to fight in future pay-per-view programs? And like, the real answer is like, do a rematch with Moxley. And it's like, why would you do that considering like Jericho hasn't had his rematch? If there is such thing as a rematch. Like, so, I don't know, like, there aren't good, like, they're gonna have to break up some of this Hangman, Kenny, stuff, for the babyface side eventually if they're going to get to that. And you kind of have to go through through like 2 pay-per-view cycles to even get those guys away from each other. So, yeah, I really do not see who will be next if, MJF becomes a champion. And then it's like, and then if you pick somebody, it's like, alright, so like, are we sure that's actually going to be the main event and not like, you know, the third most interesting match on the card?
The fake main event? Yeah.
Right. It's like, that's the thing that I'm worried about MJF is like, you make MJF, like, we still got to worry about that with Moxley. Like, I don't know if that's going to entertain more people than whatever the fuck they do out of, FTR and the Young Bucks and Hangman and Kenny. I don't think that's going to draw more interest than whatever else. And like, I don't know what they do with, Jericho, but like, that has a chance to be more interesting or draw more interest than the MJF and Moxley thing too. So it's like, that's why I don't want to make him the champion. I don't think it's a good idea. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with like the work or the talking to him because he has all that. It's just like, he needs time to get himself over to the people that have been watching him and actually be looked at as a star. And like, I feel like they've done that with Hangman. I feel like people actually buy into Hangman as being like a future AEW champion. I'm not sure people feel that way about, people like MJF or Orange Cassidy. It's a lot easier for MJF because MJF's in a more suitable role towards actually looking like a champion. Like, who knows if they'll ever be able to bridge that gap with Orange Cassidy, but like, these people that are in play. So we'll see. I would be surprised if they did it. But what I will say is it will go.
Good discussion.
It will definitely go a whole lot better than this evil thing. It definitely will do that though. It definitely would.
Yes. Yes, it would. That's why I was trying to stay so far away from like, yeah, this is not evil beating fucking Okada and fucking Naito in back-to-back. Hell no.
I didn't even think about that part about like, he beat Okada and Naito in back-to-back nights and become double champion and no one gives a fuck. Like a week later. Oh man.
Oh man. All right. So after that we had Shivani with Britt Baker, and he asked who Britt Baker had chose as Swole's opponent tonight, and she chose Reba. Reba was a wrestler in Impact for years and years and years, hasn't wrestled in a few years, but she got in there and did the I don't actually wrestle, but every move I'm gonna be shocked that I hit. She actually did a moonsault during the match.
Yeah.
So they tell me there is some ability there.
Yeah.
But Baseball basically puts her down for the quick win.
Yeah, it was like a 2-minute match.
Yep. So we will get to that after. So Jericho and Orange Cassidy, they announced for next week $7 obligation match. Cody and Scorpio Sky, the FTR Tag Team Appreciation Night with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page defending against Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. They're going to have the Rock and Roll Express and the Brainbusters there. Going to have Evil Uno and Stu Grayson against the Young Bucks. That's going to be awesome. Everything I've heard that they wrestled the Young Bucks for years. So expect that to be nuts. And then at the end, we got an awesome world title match with Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. And this was like, this was really good. This was, you knew Darby wasn't going to win, but I think you maybe bought it for a second when he hit the coffin drop after the belt shot. It was like, is what's happening about to happen? But then no, Moxley, he kicks out of everyone's shit, lately. And he, basically, I think he gave Darby Allin the sleeper move and put him out. And I think Darby got over in this match to another level. They were clearly going for, we're going to try to make this guy in defeat. They had him kicking out of the Got Style Pile Driver. They had him kicking out of the Paradigm Shift. He gave him, I think, a paradigm shift to finish him at the end. And then Moxley kind of held him after the match to like kind of show he was proud of him. And this was just an all out war pretty much.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. I wonder how well it matches up if you were to watch their first match and this match back to back and what it plays off of. It felt like it played off of the first match. But yeah, they have good matches. They have really good matches together. I'd have to rewatch this match again. But like, I thought highly of it at the time. Like, I don't really have a star rating for it or whatever else, but I thought highly of it at the time. Like, it's somewhere in that, it's over it's definitely a match that I would recommend. But like, how good I'm not exactly sure until I rewatch it.
Yeah, so basically, like, MJF tried to get Darby Allin the championship. That didn't end up working, and Mox basically addressed, he was pissed that Mox retained, and we could see it down the road where it's going.
MJF versus Darby Allin for the AEW title's not main eventing. that's not main eventing a pay-per-view. Not in 2020. Maybe in 2022, but not 2020.
Not this year.
Yeah, definitely not. Hell no.
Yeah. Not this year, but overall, super show, I would say. This one, they had a bit of, well, they had people on Twitter pissed this week. So Brandy, most of you guys already know about the AEW Heels, thing that like had existed. It's kind of like a female only, fan club, that they were doing. They ran a couple, Zoom sessions previously. They've since like rolled the thing out to like, take it to the next level, like with like wrestlers on there. They're doing like seminars and a bunch of like other different stuff for women's wrestling fans. And they are charging $49 a year for this. So people on Twitter were not pleased with this at all. This was a bad faith think piece tweet thread like Nirvana. This was like mania for everybody. Brandy Rose essentially ran off Twitter because she started responding in not the greatest way to a lot of this stuff. I don't know how hasn't realized that she's probably not dealing with people that are actually like in good faith or not, but because like I can just look at these accounts and it's always the same group like of people doing this to her. It's just she don't understand or whatever. But this is coupled with the women's tag team tournament, which I'll go over in a little bit. But this caused a lot of unrest, and then people started equating the women's division in AEW of late, and since its inception, with the goal of what the AEW Heels fan club thing is. And I thought they were cross-contaminating the argument per se, because if you're talking about AEW Heels and why it's $49, that has nothing to do with the quality of women's wrestling or like how women's wrestlers are featured on the show. Like, women don't exclusively watch women's wrestling. Right. Like, this is not like women are fans of men. How many women do you know that are huge fans of The Shield? How many women do you know are invested in New Japan Pro Wrestling? Like, lots of them. Like, they appeal to women. There's a reason the wrestlers that win over there and get pushed look the way they do. Like, so I don't know why it became this foreign concept to everyone. Of why, I don't know. I don't know if this was a case of Brandy saying something that you aren't allowed to say. Well, she worded it, or you're not supposed to say. Well, she worded it poorly. That's the thing. And for a chief brand officer, it was a bad look to say that like lots of women don't care about the women. Is like, well, or aren't into. I forgot what the exact wording was, but it was like it's one of those things where it's like, you're right, but ain't nobody trying to hear that, Brandy.
And that is something that a brand officer or chief brand officer should probably try to avoid that pothole. So based from there, she got off Twitter, and then she got off Twitter and she did one of the worst things you could possibly do once you get off Twitter. She got off Twitter and then decided to address whatever was around her by writing this long ass thing on Instagram. That's not what Instagram is for, Brandy. Nobody's trying to hear. It's for pictures. If you want to write something, I don't know, send it over letterhead on the AEW.com. But that's not the look. Like, you left the forum that was meant for to go to this other forum, and like, ain't nobody trying to read that. People trying to look at pictures. That's what Instagram is for. It was just a bunch of
What do you make of this whole, before we get to like, the actual like women's division stuff, like what do you make this thing like with Brandy and like AEW heels, and like the goal of it, and why when AEW charges $50 for something does it bother people so much?
Good point. I don't, from the way you laid it out, the way you editorialized the story, is not, I don't feel too dissimilar from how you feel. I think that, people are trying to shoehorn this discussion into, the context of the women's division, with this fan club. And I got newsflash for you. Those don't necessarily pair well, and I don't understand why it uses ammunition when there is stuff to legitimately criticize for the women's division. And we talked about this over, seemingly all fucking week since this whole thing started. Like, if you want to talk about the fact that there is a lack of development because of character development or opportunity in the women's division, because of, it seems that like once a week on average, they only get 15 minutes out of a 2-hour show, maybe less. That's absolutely legitimate criticism. If you feel like who the fuck is getting TV time besides, or real TV time or character development to get her shit over besides Britt Baker, there is legitimate criticism to be had. If you want to say that the women's division overall has not been up to snuff with, let's say, the rest of the stuff that's on the major American, division, wrestling products out there, you could say that. I would say that, like, they've had some good ass matches, but like after that, like, it's really thin. But putting that with the fan club, when we didn't know what the fan club actually was till they actually ran it, which is like the classic thing that's been happening with AEW is people, they do something and then people are so quick to immediately give a take or opinion on some shit that's like mostly inconsequential. So I think,
like, I felt like it was like the trucks all over again. Like when people saw Brandy on the truck and they lost their minds.
Yeah.
Like
and a lot
of Brandy gets these people. Like,
a lot, they don't like Brandy, and there's no reason to not like Brandy outside of the fact that she's just a black woman. So, the fact that she's a black woman. Like, there's no, like, she's not out here harming nobody, and yes, she has made, flubs or whatever else, and Cody has made flubs too, but like, Cody's made these flubs and people just let that shit pass right the fuck over. And I'm not saying that you need to like, give Cody the blues. What I'm saying is y'all need to line up on Brandy. So like, getting to the fan club thing, like, okay, well, let's say this was some well-ran division. Or like, I got something to tell you. Like, you know who has a fan club? Stardom has a fan club. It's no one gives a fuck about their fan club. They're the best women's wrestling in the world. No one gives a fuck. So, like, I'm not trying to hear that. Like,
James, are you in the fan club?
No, not the fan club. No, like, the fan club is basically like, I've looked at it before. The fan club is you pay like an annual service in Stardom. You get like the inside track to buy tickets, to shows.
Gotcha. So New Japan has one of those too.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, I think that you have to pay per year to acquire such services, I believe.
Yeah. And then, we've always seen like the workshops where they had the little Hannah girl or whatever else, that would go to the workshops when they bring you in to, do a quote unquote run through of a Stardom practice or whatever else. Like Stardom has done that for longer than we've been watching. I assume. So, Yeah, but no one has a problem with that. Like, no one has a problem with that because, like, that is a well-ran oil and function machine. Like, people are, like, saying... I think there are two discussions. I think there's that, which is the... What are y'all... Who y'all have the gall to charge extra for this shitty division. And then there's also the... Well, y'all have fostered this toxic... online presence amongst your fan base and whipped up these incels. So, and then to give women a safe space to discuss their opinions as opposed to getting fucked with, you are charging them $50 to do so. I don't know what is AEW's responsibility to handle, like, we just discussed the wrestling part, and I'm just saying, like, I don't agree, like, they're separate or whatever else, or as far as, like, if they have a shitty division, if they had a good division, they're charging a fan club to give people, quote unquote, insider type stuff, whatever else, and other people do that are functioning well, and no one says anything to say about that. So I'm moving on to this. There's absolutely... in professional wrestling, in every single federation or whatever else, a shitty sect of fandom that is toxic. I don't... It's
not no new thing.
Right. And I don't know what... and I understand the need for a safe space for people that are being fucked with. Absolutely understand that. I feel like they may be, I'm not for sure, but they may have been trying to provide that for some of the female fans. But I do not feel like it is terrible that they decided to charge for insider features in services. Like, they are giving, like, it'd be one thing if, like, they weren't doing Q&As with people face to face on Zoom calls and, you know, putting in their half for it, and they were just scamming people. They're actually giving them something besides just, you know, a forum for them to chat in and just say, and make $50 off of a chat. Like, I feel like they're doing more than just saying, like, this, you know, this is some scam thing. So I feel like they're putting in their half for the people that, of a payoff for the $50 for people. And also it's so exclusive that it's only like, it's less than 200 people that are in the thing. So it's like, they clearly have more than 200 female fans that are hardcore fans in AEW. So this isn't just, we're offering you a safe space. Otherwise they would have made it bigger, or they would have made it free. So I think it's just a regular ass fan club, and they decided they want to do a fan club specifically for women, and they put in the money for it.
And then they exceeded the expectations.
Maybe I'm giving them
and the signups.
Right. So maybe I'm giving them more the benefit of the doubt than they deserve, but I don't know what you're supposed to do to try to fix as a professional wrestling company, aside from telling people don't be assholes or throwing people out of shows, and there are no people in shows right now to throw out. Right. I don't know how you're supposed to control their internet language other than basically shouting them down every chance they get. And from what it seems to me, AEW and wrestlers all around shout down their jackass fandom often.
People, I remember Cody Rhodes 3 weeks ago when he was fighting Sonny Kiss, like, dunked on a guy on Twitter and was like, I'm proud to share the ring with Sonny any day. They've come out in Nyla Rose's defense, like when she was like the champion,
right,
on Twitter as well. So it's like, a lot of loud talking from like people that.
Well, hold on. I think there was something to be said about you could do more. And yes, you can always do more in any circumstance. I think the question is, did they do enough? And I personally feel like they've done enough. As far, like, when things come up, I feel like they have done enough from time to time. Like, am I happy that Sammy Guevara is back wrestling on the show like nothing ever fucking happened? Not necessarily, but there was something there. You know, the Nyla Rose thing at the time happened, and like, you know, when Jericho does the Talk is Jericho thing with her, and then like he comes out there, Chris Jericho, who's on the All Lives Matter camp, by the way, comes out there and is like, and is going at people, you know, that are talking down on Nyla. Like, people are doing things there, but like, I don't know, maybe they wanted more like word or stuff from Khan, and I don't know what Khan has said on this. Maybe do you know what?
I don't know what Tony Khan said on any of this. Like, except nothing specific like this. Like, no one's got him on a like they haven't done. I think maybe after All Out, if they do like a media thing, like someone will ask something about this. Yeah, so like, I think that these are conversations that should be happening as far as like, what do we do to help our fan base that is being shit on by these assholes and people that we kind of need to get up out of here in our fan base, and let know at every turn that we do not tolerate this nonsense. We're not putting up with like this hate speech and anti-woman, anti-gay stuff. But those conversations will not be done in front of us, nor should they. And I feel like we've already seen some of it at, you know, done in public as far as them shouting down people. So it's like, yes, they can do more, but I feel like they've done enough. So like, I'm kind of just like, okay. But like, this conversation, but like, it's a valid conversation, but like, once you pair it with this other stuff, I'm trying to unpack and, you know, granular talk about this stuff, and like I'm sitting here listening, like people have complaints, I'm willing to listen to it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm basically at the point where I'm like, this fan club part with bad women's division, I'm not hearing that, I don't care, fuck off. But this part about the fan base and you know, in this shitty fan base with, you know, trying to make a space for women fans, like I'm here listening. And like the stuff I've listened to and read, like I can't move beyond the past for the part of so far of, I feel like they could always do more, but like they haven't, but they've done an adequate job with it so far. So like, I don't know what you want them to do more, let me phrase that. I don't know what you're supposed to ask them to do beyond what they've done compared to other industries, not just wrestling, other industries. Like, I just don't know. If you want to do more, sure. And I don't mean sure in some like condescending way. I mean sure is like, yeah, sure, I'll change my tone. Sure. But like, I don't feel like they are they're the quote unquote bad guys, or the worst guys. That's the way to say it. I don't think they're the worst guys on this. So, I don't want to do the whataboutism thing, but it's like, there's a lot of work we need to do as a society around all of this stuff. And like, it is beyond just, AEW or wrestling in general. Yeah. A lot of this stuff comes off for me as like disingenuous at best. Mm-hmm. We, like, you know, with the women's division, like we talked about it yesterday, like I think they got, like they weren't prepared for this, and who really would be? A double doomsday scenario of like injuries to your top people. You've got the pandemic, and then like the airports like are shut down. So like, I think it's just a bad time, and they'll get through it eventually.
I am trying to separate what can be done versus what they did, what can be done, and what where mistakes were made. And I think I came down to the conclusion that ultimately the mistake they made was that they did not sign enough talent. They've had opportunity to sign. I think I made up a list off the top of my head. It was like like they've had opportunity at times.
I got it right here.
Okay. Yeah, you give me the list. I don't remember at the time. That was doing off the top of my head.
So you said Deonna Purrazzo, Nicole Savoy, who was recommended apparently, right? Tenille Dashwood, Mercedes Martinez, who of course came in for the All Out and AEW Dark,
just like Nicole Savoy.
Rachel Ellering, who's going to be on AEW Dark this week,
right?
Thunder Rosa, Priscilla Kelly, who was on the boat and had another match. Allison Kay, Tessa Blanchard, Madison Rain, and Santana Garrett.
Okay, so these are based off of people that are in the country and aren't restricted.
Lufisto was not on your list, James.
No, she was not, and she will not be on my list. She wanted on my list 5 years ago. She wouldn't be on my list now. And now that she's even older, or not older, but now that she's older than she's further past her prime. So yeah, you look at those people that are all based off of the average level of talent in the division and the average match you get. These are people that would improve that average. And a lot of them actually, you could, do stuff with character and mic time or whatever else, even though it's AEW, that's not, short and sweet. I get it.
So we ain't fucking let Kenny Omega talk on TV. So
right. Well, that's because he doesn't want to talk. That's a little different. But ultimately what I'm getting at is, you look at when they started, this division, and the backbone of the division was foreigners. Right. And this is something we don't realize until it's here now, right? It's upon you. But in the men's singles division and in the tag division, they have managed to have enough talent to withstand the travel ban, right? It's been pretty much, Pac is one of my 3 or 4 favorite wrestlers in AEW, but he hasn't been here, and it's been a lot of no Pac, no problem. They still thrive. It sucks not having, someone like Shima to come in and, do his thing, and also the Strong Hearts in general. But they've been able to withstand all of that. In the tag division, they got shit. We were talking about this one time about the Dark Order have how many tag teams in it? 6?
Dark Order has 4. They have 4 tag teams in the Dark Order.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be fine as far as the tag team division, right? And then, they're also, who knows when they do this, Cordona and the Cody run. That's another damn tag team for your ass. So, ultimately, once the travel ban happens, you look at the list of people that were actually prominent players in their division, and that got cut in more than half. If you scroll up,
it's in thirds.
Yeah, it's in the fourth. Right now, they're so lucky that Sheeta moved here. Otherwise, they'd be fucked, right? That would leave you with, at the time, Sheeta, Nyla, Swole, Britt Baker, Statlander. Am I missing somebody?
Penelope Ford.
Yep, Penelope Ford, right? So, Britt and Stat both go down at the same time, seemingly, right? Britt will be back soon, but Stat will be going for more months from now. So, now that moves you down to 4 prominent people you can actually do something with on TV. I don't give a damn.
Now, you gotta protect matches for pay-per-view.
Right. And think about it. The last time we saw a division with only 4 players on it worth a damn that actually succeeded was 2018 SmackDown Women's Division with with Becky and Charlotte. It's the last time that's happened. When it was Becky, Charlotte, Asuka, and Naomi. That's the last time that really worked, and that really only worked because Becky became the biggest star in the industry at the time. So I'm not predicting those sorts of things to happen, right?
Yeah. Because who could have predicted that?
Right. It takes one of the all-time anomalies to happen in order to make that thing buoy over and survive. And there was actually there was Becky there, and there was the ace of the entire of that entire division there for the last 3 years at that point in time there, and they were whooping the ace's ass over and over every single month. That's the reason why that shit worked. There is no established ace in that out of those 4 that are left right now. We have a champion, we have a challenger, or a challenger that's a former champion, and we have Swole, who is seemingly earmarked for when Britt comes back in a month or whatever else. And then Penelope's the only person that you can be she had that good ass match with Sheeta, maybe they should follow up on that and make you care more. But it's there's also the situation where we don't know what they're doing with Kip, and Jimmy Havoc may not be with the company anymore.
Right, and also like putting Penelope on screen right now is like, who are we taking? You don't want to. Well, I wouldn't even say that, because overexposure is not the problem in the women's division.
I mean, like, I don't think, we're not sure that she can carry like the quote unquote personality,
okay, that's what you mean,
talking role in the way that like Britt has now that Britt's off TV and like we want to keep her on TV. Like, I don't know if you can do that with her. That's what I mean. Right. I don't mean if it was like have her on TV every single week. And like, nah, like sometimes they didn't even have fucking women's matches on Dynamite.
Yeah. So like, and back to that, so like, I don't know, like, if we've clearly got our two matches that are there, right? Like Sheeta versus Nyla, which we assume would be the rematch.
Right.
We would assume at All Out, Britt Baker is back against Swole.
Yep.
Based on how everything's set up right now, I don't know what we would be putting Penelope on for right now if the women's segments are getting fucking bashed every time they like, or not bashed, I would say like they're getting tuned out on in masses. And then if it goes for a certain amount of time, like you're putting Penelope in there, you're not going to have her fight any of those four people. Who are you having Penelope wrestle? You're bringing like either indie people, you're bringing QT students, like, and I don't know if you necessarily dedicate time to that, like, especially like the way it's been getting like murdered on, like it's a channel changer immediately.
Right, but here's the thing, right? That's not the only thing that's a channel changer on AEW. Like, there is stuff they put out there that people do not give a fuck about either, but they still go with it. Like, and ultimately the thing comes down to, when we talk about the personality segments or the talking segments, people tune those out historically on both Wednesday shows because they rather see action. But you have to do that to build somebody. Like, there was a decision made at some point where they were like, Britt just blew her knee out, or fuck it, Britt was a babyface, no one was buying it, we're turning her heel, we're giving her the mic, and she's going to sink or swim based on how well she does it. And she swam like a damn fish. And then eventually she got hurt, and we're like, well, fuck it, she's being so great on the mic, we will continue doing these rehab touch-up sessions, and they've been fun, and they worked, and they've made her, we all think, into a bigger star than she was before she got hurt. Or before she even turned heel. So a decision was made on somebody before there was actually proof. There's going to have to be more than just Britt Baker that you actually rely on or give that kind of trust to make this shit work. Given the situation we're in,
because I think they've given that trust to. I think they've given that trust to Sheeta in a different way. Like, it's like, please save us in the ring. Like, please save us.
Like, yeah, you are a credibility in the ring. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But getting back to my overall point is, like, we have trimmed down from, once you cut out the reliable foreigners, once you get down to the injuries and like actual players in this division, we're down to 4 now. And this isn't an issue if you had signed some of these women when you had the chance of that list I mentioned earlier. Is like, these people were available to have been got over the last year and a half, 2 years, or whatever, since AEW's existence. You've had opportunities, or you brought them in, or you didn't sign them, or for whatever reason, or blah, blah, blah. And like, you need that main, or if you had signed 3 of these women, 4 of these women, the division is afloat. You could have Penelope do some stuff on Dark with some of these people, and you could have a steady stream of where you go next, where it's like, or not a steady stream, but like, you will have people to fall back on because you have the depth in a way that like is similar to the tag division in the men's singles division. And it's like, I don't know what is holding you up for signing some of these women if you're going to actually have a division. And it's like, if you want to have an actual division that is stable, and forget the part about like just having good ass matches or being as, over as the guys. Like, if you want to have a division, you have to have people in that matter, and you have to sign a talent that can actually do it. And they didn't sign enough Americans or people that are in the country to do such a thing. And then all the terrible things started happening. Like, if there were no travel ban, the coronavirus never happened, they'd be fine. But because like, you can bring foreigners in, but they never signed enough American talent to rely on it. Like, they brought in Shanna or Jamie Hayter or B or or I'm trying to think who else or Yuka Sakazaki or Shoko Nakajima. Like, I understand.
Like they'll bring people in.
Yeah, they have no problem bringing people in, but like now we're at a point where like you can't do that. You can't rely on that no more. So like either you need to look to signing some of these people to show this list. Like they brought in Rachel Ellering, so that's a good look to start off right now. So we'll see how that goes. But it's like they need to be calling people left and right trying to get them in because they're like, Meltzer had that fucking thing that he did on his forum thing or whatever else, which is I feel like is like a bad look and partially nonsense because it's like once you start saying like my more or less you need to be as good as fucking Ray Phoenix to get on TV. I'm like, I got new flash for you, Meltzer. Ray Phoenix ain't even on fucking Dynamite most weeks. So yeah, like he's had 7 matches.
I saw that.
He's only been on 3. He's only been on 3. I'm sorry. He's been on 4 Dynamites and 3 Darks. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, man, that's or like I saw that and I was like, Dave.
Manami Toyota, if she showed up now, she'd be a superstar. Oh, really?
I have no proof of that.
Right. Like, I'm not saying that she wouldn't, given the modifications or whatever else. Manami Toyota came around, she'd be fucking incredible. She was fucking incredible even by if you pull her out of 1995 and bring her now, she'd still be fucking incredible. My point is, that doesn't mean she would necessarily draw in these ways, but like, you're perfectly fine with like, all these fucking stinking ass dudes coming out here that don't draw either just because they're talented. Like, what do we want? Like, Becky Lynch is not as talented.
I could stand to have one less best friends match.
Right.
I could stand to go a week without, the Dark Order or something like that. Like,
right. And it's also the part where it's like, okay, so you're missing the total point. Like, Becky Lynch is not as talented in the ring, belt to belt, as Hikaru Shida. She damn sure is not as talented as Manami Toyota in the ring. By your logic, there would be no reason for her to get over, but she did. And one of his Meltzer things is always like, if you get over, you get over. And the only way to get over is you get the fucking ball once or twice. Or to get the ball enough to you actually have a definitive answer on this. We don't know who's going to get over. We just have ideas of who's going to get over. And, if you had said 2 years ago that Riho would have gotten over in American television, nobody would have believed you. But she did. Because she got the opportunity. And some of these women are going to have to be given opportunity, or you're going to have to bring in some of these women and give them opportunity to get over to a certain level, to have credibility with their fan base, to then interact with the people that you've already established over this time that are still, in the country and healthy. That's what it's going to take. Otherwise, the division is going to be stuck on what it is until we eventually get, people will be able to travel in and stat back. And that's going to take a long ass time. She tore her knee back in when? April?
The week before All Out. And she just got surgery, like, last week.
Shit. Yeah, she's gonna be gone until 2021.
Yeah. So they have been making small moves, like you said. Rachel Ellering's there. They've been bringing in different women off the indies and trying them out on Dark. Kylan King is a favorite of mine, a favorite of Jeremy's as well. They did sign Abaddon. I think that's the worst signing probably in the history of the promotion. Please keep her like where I don't have to watch her.
You think she's worse than Lisa Bates?
Yes.
Wow.
Unquestionably.
Yikes.
So like if I show you like her like when she does a Luthez press and the punches, like it's embarrassing.
No. You say if you can show me, do not.
Yeah.
I will end the show.
Floyd had a question. He said, if America had a weekly show with women's wrestling, the quality of stardom, would it draw? It was just something he was discussing with his friends.
If it was as good as Stardom?
Yeah.
Ultimately, what it comes down to with Stardom is they would need a star. Right? Like, they would need a Jericho level star. So let's say, like, if they brought in a Becky Lynch to the show, or let's say we have 4 people that's over as a horsewoman, and then you ran the show, yes, it would draw. But the thing is, this is the thing, like, it has a lot of, American women's wrestling has a lot of parallels to black head coaches in the NFL. There's a segregation, and there's a segregation. The segregation causes all of these social networks to keep sticking to basically cronyism and incest, in the cronyism in what's the word? Oh my god, I'm blanking on the word. Oh my god, nepotism. So,
okay,
yeah.
We've seen that in AEW.
Yeah. So you get a woman like Britt Baker, right? Britt Baker was in Stardom or did a tour in Stardom in 2018, the same time as and her biggest match at the time in Stardom was she had a 4-person tournament match with Tam Nakano, right? Tam debuted in wrestling in 2017 or 16, either late 2016 or early 2017. She moves to Stardom in 2017, and she's had like 300 matches. And then you compare that with someone like, let's say, I don't know, Britt or Penelope. And like Penelope, I look like she's been wrestling for 5 years. She's had like 250 matches. If I had asked you off the top of your head, do you think one has had a shit ton of matches, or do you think one has had, or do you think it'd be close? You'd be like, you look at them and you're like, fuck no, Tam's had way more matches than her. But the thing is, they focus on this thing, and there's actually like a support system for them to go in, get the work in, practice on fundamentals. The style's different, is more favored towards being able to have quality matches in Japan than it is in America for on the women's side. Like, there are so many things in place to where you get these discrepancies from a woman that's had 300, 400, 500 matches in America than someone that's had 300, 400, 500 matches in Japan versus America. Like, so yeah, like if you have someone that's like on their grind, like Millie McKenzie, she can go out here and get her 300 matches in 2 years. If you're a woman in America, you have to be on your horse to get that number of matches to be able to get that good, and also with the right requisite of athleticism and talent and studying and all that kind of stuff to do that. And I just think it's apples and oranges. They're both fruit, but it's a lot of stuff differs in the way the sausage is made between both turning out people. I just think it's really hard to try to, how do I say this? I think it's really hard as far as trying to turn that out. It's sort of like, will there be women as good as Stardom? Like, yeah, you could probably do that if you go throughout the whole, you could probably do that as far as like the 20 women and 25-ish women in Stardom, whatever else, and put them together or whatever else. But it's like, you can't do it with the level of experience level that the women in Stardom have and get that done. It doesn't seem like, because it's just like they have more of a support system able to get out that quality of level of wrestler and fundamentals out of people. Like, I think quite frankly, we have probably better athletes than them, right? Like, we have bigger people, we have stronger people, we probably have faster people, but like, they wrestle that style, and they're in the dojo or wherever else. And it's not just Stardom, this is like other Joshi promotions, whether it's Sealing or it's Sendai Girls or Tokyo Joshi Pro, where like they have way more practice time. Like the whole Outliers thing, like they're closer to their 10,000 or 100,000 hours than we are with our women wrestlers.
Quality practice too.
Yeah. Like, it's one thing to be out there, is like, you do your thing or whatever. And like, that's another thing, like the intergender wrestling, that discussion, like, we cannot get, if you want to have a crop of very good women wrestlers, do not get rid of intergender wrestling. Like, we're all saying, like, we talk about this with Natty, right? Name me another American on the American scene right now that's had over 1,250 matches. Or hell, let's say 1,000. How many American women have 1,000 matches? I mean, I can look it up. I don't
Naomi,
think maybe Naomi. I don't think she's had 1,000 matches. Like, Natty's a machine.
I'm trying to think of people that have been around like 10 years at least.
Right.
And been pushed for, a certain amount of time. Charlotte, maybe?
Charlotte may be at 1,000. Maybe less. But this isn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
like I'm not sure if it would draw or not. Like because it's not going to come down to just the wrestling. Like it's going to come down to people getting over their sexism to watch it.
Right. And that's the main thing. like when that's the main thing. Like when Meltzer's talking about that, what he is talking about as far as these girls get shat on is like, yeah, they get shat on because like the fan base is sexist. I don't understand why you're placating to like the sexist like viewpoint on this shit. It's like, if that's the case, then like rip up the division and tell them not even to have this shit. Then Meltzer, he wanted to say that because he understands. Yeah. Like he's saying he's dog whistling without realizing he's dog whistling.
Correct. Like, cause he's saying like, they're already sacrificing segments. They're handing viewers over right now by even doing it. That's what he doesn't realize he's saying that. Yeah, but meanwhile, the point is like
But meanwhile, go out there and put like Silver and Reynolds out there, and that's perfectly fine. Like, nah, bro. Like, those are separate things. Like, these are unknown entities as well, and you're perfectly fine putting those on there.
Yeah, like, so it comes down to, like, unfortunately, like, so the people that are going to be loudest about this in opposition against, like, adding more women or think that everything's going just fine right now, they'll point at the non-business need to do it, right? But what I think would need to happen and why AEW needs to look at, like I understand the fact they're in a competition and they've got to, they've got to put what they got to put on, and it's a business and it's not a charity, right?
Right.
But you made a lot of big promises in the beginning.
And the thing is, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. You're on the roll. Sorry.
I was going to say you made a lot of big promises in the beginning, and then in America, you don't want to fall behind, like as far as like fall further behind than like someone like WWE. Now, mind you, I think WWE was in a situation to where it was easier for them to cultivate like a women's division, because after a while it was like, well, we're not competing with anybody on Mondays. Like, why not? Like, and even they get in a situation where, why the fuck is Baron Corbin on screen way more than Sasha Banks?
Right.
Like, so right. It's like, and like, I kind of understand, like, there's no one that like I'm pushing out of the way. Like, I'm not pushing out any of the top 5 or 6 or 10 or even the tag teams, like, for like the 4th biggest woman. Like, I'm not doing that yet, but it's investments for the future to try to get as many, to make someone pop. And when things like AEW heels come up, like, even though it's like misguided, that's why it comes up. Like, right. If you had a division that was, mind you, I don't know, right? Because there will still be plenty of people that hate the promotion that exists, hate the promotion for existing, and are just gonna dunk on you, whatever. Mm-hmm. But you'll know in your heart of hearts that you've done all you can do. And I don't know if they can say that. They can say we've had a lot of tough circumstances. They can say that. But I think, like you said, there's always more. And I like the Rachel Ellering thing. We know, like, if, like, she's easily, you invest in her, you bring fucking Hiroyo Matsumoto in, do a fucking rematch whenever you can. Right. Like, immediately. Or you have her fight Nyla Rose, like, and that's gonna be awesome. Like, so and then I like the idea of the women's tag team tournament on YouTube. They brought in Tainara Conti and teamed her up with Anna Jay. They ended up getting the win over who the hell was it? They beat Nyla Rose and Ariane Andrew. So
they pinned Cameron.
They pinned Ariane, and then Ariane got destroyed by Nyla after the match. So, so she came in to take a pin. It didn't work out that bad. And then Tainara's around, so maybe you sign her because she's someone that we all clearly looked at. She has the look. She has like a physical background, with the jiu-jitsu and all that stuff.
Yeah, and even when she was in NXT and she was doing like the prelim stuff, whatever else, like. She showed that she could do a couple things here and there. So it's like, you match that look with the, with like the background, and you figure like we give her more run, there's somebody we can stash. Like she's a further along project than like Sadie Gibbs is.
Mm-hmm. And then you have Brandy and Allie teaming up and getting the win over Penelope Ford and Mel, I believe it was. Mel and Penelope, I would actually put them together. Like, if Jimmy Haver's not going to be around, you have her as the enforcer there. Brandy seemingly turned, so I think she's a heel now. So it's so the Brandy and Allie thing isn't where it's at. But
her and Allie are both heels now.
Allie's kind of like a babyface. It seems like.
Does it need a double turn?
Feels like it. So they're going to have another show tomorrow. And the show wasn't half bad. Medusa showed up.
Wait, so, hold on. Sorry. Before you move on. In my mind, you correct me if I'm wrong. They started AEW, Brandy was a babyface. Then the Nightmare Collective started, she was a heel.
Okay. Hold on. Before we do that. Double or Nothing last year, she was a what?
What did she do at Double or Nothing? Yeah, that remind me.
She made the announcement and added an Awesome Kong to the match and then managed Cody.
She was
maybe she was a baby face?
Well, hold on. She was a baby face until she screwed Allie on the pre-show of one of those pay-per-views or
Fight for the Fallen.
Fight for the Fallen, okay. Yeah, so she was a baby face then she turned heel, then she started the Nightmare Collective, but she could go further heel. Then that Nightmare Collective shit got broke up, and then she came out for Cody. She's a babyface there, and now she's back to a heel. So she's had 3 turns in a year.
Get this under control, man.
And honestly, like, if she don't, who are the babyface heels? Okay, so you got Angelico and Jack Evans. What other turns have we had besides from Brandy?
Britt Baker.
That's right. So 2. Has she had?
I don't know if any men have turned.
Right, because it's like MJF screwed Cody, but he was like always singles. A heel.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out if Brandy has had more turns than the rest of the fucking roster over the same time span.
I think so.
That's a bad look, bro.
Bad look, man.
That's a bad look.
And this is like part of like we've got to. It seems like Brandy's like in a all hands on deck situation right now with this, but the quicker they can get her the fuck out of here, and maybe they're going to be introducing 4 more teams tomorrow night for the second day. As I mentioned, Medusa came out. That was really awesome. It was good to see her. Veda Scott was on commentary. Shaw Guerrero was on ring announcing, and it had like a kind of a different vibe on the show. Like it was pretty cool how they presented it.
Hey, Rich. You said Medusa, right?
Yes.
Former Stardom commissioner Medusa. Back in like 2015-16, like when they first put their shows on YouTube. Like, bro, Stardom be ahead on so much shit. Okay, so we were talking about Naomi and Charlotte as far as their match count, right? Charlotte is in the upper 800s and Naomi's in the lower 800s. So they don't even have 1,000. So like that's what we're talking about when it comes to you want to get rid of energy in the wrestling. Well, like you must not want women to get better because like to be out there with people that are super experienced or whatever else and have multiple matches, multiple years or whatever else, like for them to get better and have these teachable moments or whatever else in the ring in front of a crowd, like that's a great resource. Intergender wrestling. Like
I think
Candice LeRae doesn't get signed without intergender wrestling.
Who?
Candice LeRae doesn't get signed without intergender wrestling.
Oh yeah.
She's one of the best. She's one of the best wrestlers we have in this country.
Now to answer your question, Floyd, I think a lot has to go right for like a women's wrestling show to draw on national TV.
I think that it would.
A lot has to go right.
Yeah, it would take a similar situation like Jericho leaves WWE. Like it would take like, you know, I mean, we've had Glow or whatever else, but like Glow's on a weird channel and ran at a weird time, and you know, the availability to actually get it was difficult at the time. But like, if it was the level of if you have the right 2, 3, 4 stars or whatever else, and I mean star relative, I mean like Horseman level. If you had like 1 or 2 of those, and then you had stardom level wrestling, let me phrase this: stardom level wrestling. Once you get out of the minus the teenager matches, whatever else, yeah, that would draw, because like their shows, generally speaking, are better than Raw's.
So, yeah, let's get to NXT. I think that covered all angles of the discussion. If you guys have the next time this pops up, any questions, leave them for us on the Discord page, and we'll, get to whatever. But I think we covered it from every angle, I think. So,
I'm sure there's something we may have missed, but I feel like we did a pretty thorough thing.
Okay. The Yellow Show.
The Yellow Show. Good ass show until the stupid ass angle at the end. Just go through real quick. So
yeah, man.
What? Save it.
Save it. Yeah.
Rhea match show starts. Rhea Ripley versus Dakota Kai. This match was great. Or let me phrase that. Good ass match. I ended up giving it a 3 3/4. Went longer than you would have thought, but it worked. Proved that Dakota can take a beating. I feel like Rhea was on the offensive side, maybe 80% of this match. Like, they made it known under no circumstance are you to believe that Dakota Kai could actually beat Rhea Ripley or challenge for the title. Straight up. At the end, Rhea is on the corner, in a corner, trying to lift her up for some sort of, probably like the top or second or top rope, ripcord. Dakota is able to survive, get away. Then, as the ref's back is turned, out comes Mercedes Martinez and hits Rhea with a kick. She's basically laid out over the top rope in the corner. Dakota then from there uses her the position that Rhea's in to give her that go to kick thing that she does, like the GTS up with a Pele kick instead of like the knee, and it ends up pinning Rhea. Rhea's bleeding from her nose. Her nose got busted at the end of the match. So that was a really good match. I think you like that match. Like, I'm watching this match, it's like, Rhea's so good. Why is she not, like, why did you do this to her this year? Like, the nonsense. And, like, also, why is she not on TV instead of fucking Iconics? So, after the match, like, look, you want to push people for the Australian demographic. Push Rhea Ripley, not the Iconics. Anyway, I didn't even think about that connection. I just threw that out there. It was like, oh yeah, they're both, that's the reason. Well, fuck that. Put Rhea Ripley on TV.
Rhea Ripley.
Like,
I'm going to start calling her the third iconic. I'm going to start calling her the third iconic, Rhea Ripley.
You interact with, you're a little too close in like the social network for that not to end, for that to end well for you. Like, you keep that up, Rhea Ripley might come to your door. Oh, you at the studio?
Yeah, you're right.
Who's there? All right, Swerve, I'll be there in 15 minutes. You better stop this shit, Rich. So
that's funny because that's where I'll be later. Well, fucking, yeah. So Rhea's
I'll postpone the podcast. I'll release it later, so keep you safe tonight.
So Rhea Ripley versus the Robert Stone brand continued.
Yes, and they'll play to that later on the show. So then we end up getting Bronson Reed versus Shane Thorne, and like, I don't know what it is, but like Shane Thorne, like whether he had the match earlier in the year with Gargano or this match here, but like Shane Thorne is good to give you a little 5 minutes of fire. Short match, they beat the shit out of each other with forearms and chops to the neck and face. At the end, Bronson Reed hits him with a Death Valley driver and then hits him with the big splash, puts him away. So he right now is looking. They're giving him a push towards this North American title thing. Like he's been picked. Like he got
the thick boy.
Yeah, thick boy is doing in front of a crowd would be doing very well right now, but no crowd. So then they cut back to footage from earlier in the day where Breezango was walking out in the infamous Full Sail parking lot. Rich,
unbelievable. I need to ask Word about that. Hey, bro, what's up with this parking lot? You be watching out for yourself, right?
So, as they're walking and talking, all of a sudden, a gray SUV pulls up, and out comes El Legado del Fantasma, and Santos Escobar has on this golden jacket, like suit jacket. It looks like, how do I say this? It looks like he was a lottery pick. That's the best way I can explain it. Either he was going to prom, or he was a lottery pick. There's no in betweens on it. Anyway,
he just got finished thanking God.
Anyway, they beat the brakes off of Fandango and Breeze. They take Fandango and throw him in the back of the truck. And pull off with him. So, another person abducted by Legado del Fantasma. So, then...
They don't care nothing about no pandemic. You coming with us. You might have it, don't matter.
Yeah. Imagine, it'd be funny. It'd be hilarious. Like, this would have been a BTE skit. If they had pulled up on them, whooped both their asses, then all of a sudden, one of them pulls out a thermometer to check their temperature, make sure it's not above 100.4, and then, oh, he's good, and then throw his ass in the back of the drive off. That's a BTE skit for your ass right there. So, then, we end up getting, Aaliyah and Robert Stone and Mercedes Martinez walking backstage, or walking one of those outside of the complex or whatever else. It's nighttime this time. Right after a few, like half hour or 15 minutes after she screwed Rhea. And, interviewer asks, like, what's going on with what happened in the match in the opener. And Robert Stone says, well, Rhea Ripley might be done with Robert Stone brand, but the Robert Stone brand is not done with Rhea Ripley. I forgot what Mercedes said, but it was like basically, I want smoke. They go to walk off, and Aaliyah says some condescending line, basically like, basically let you know, I'm the pin eater. I'm the person that's gonna be taking a big bump in our match eventually, in their match that they have.
Yo, poor Rhea Ripley. Has there been anyone booked worse than her this year?
Booked worse?
Yeah.
Booked worse. Oh, let me see off the top of my head who's been booked worse. I mean,
because like, bro, when she was standing and it was filling up the ring with her with the belt to close last year, we were told that we were only gonna, this is the beginning of a new start in Survivor Series last year and War Games. Like, she was hotter than the sun. What about it now?
I would like to refer you to this thing known as Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream, and then I would like to refer you to this other thing that's going to happen called Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. He's been worse than Rhea Ripley. Am I lying? You notice how I found that? I came up with that one real quick, right? Real quick. His 2020 has been butt cheeks.
Man, at least he won his matches.
The matches stunk. Them Velveteen matches all stunk. At least them Charlotte matches were good as hell. Like, go out there, have your 4-star match on WrestleMania. Thank you. I will take that. Where is Adam Cole's 4-star match during any of this shit with Velveteen Dream? Where is his 3-star match for any of this shit with Velveteen Dream?
Don't see it.
Not there at all. Look,
not here.
You think you might have a
location not found?
Right. You think you might have a 3-star match with fucking Pat McAfee? I have my doubts. They putting that shit on TakeOver, for fuck's sake.
TakeOver, James. They're ruining it. They ruined it, damn it.
Like, I need to find out that shit was a pre-show. Like, yeah, it's put on a pre-show. We're not really doing that. That's stupid. That's dumb. Okay, so... like, Mercedes Martinez versus Ruby is going to be a good-ass match eventually whenever they get to it. I don't know if that's going to be on TakeOver. I think that's going to be something that they put on one of the shows around it, like on the Go Home show or on the show after, to keep them stabilized in the ratings. You know, like, they figured out how to keep the shit stable with having a quality show after In Your House. But remember, like, after, like, the week leading up to and the week after, Portland, it was a fucking mess. It was a disaster. So, hopefully they've learned that lesson. So, after that, we end up getting the triple threat match for the North American title or ladder match qualifier between Damian Priest, Oney Lorcan, and Ridge Holland. And boy, whoo! This match was fire. I give it 4 stars. It is Priest and Lorcan, and it's Priest basically on his horse doing all of his Karate Man moves. And Lorcan is out here throwing chops and running around like a psychopath, and it is also sprinkled in with Rich Holland doing power moves, throwing people around, doing pocket Brock Lesnar stuff, cause like, it was, and I mean by Brock Lesnar, I don't mean like MMA Brock Lesnar, I mean like 2004, 2003-ish Brock Lesnar, that Brock Lesnar. Like, it was so fun. Rich Holland, like, was impressive as a person. Like, I never saw his singles matches or whatever else. Like, he looked like he could be somebody. Like, now, you know, hopefully they take some care with that. Like, I don't want to, it's similar to like the Wardlow thing. Like, I don't want to know enough about Wardlow to know that, like, there's something that's missing there. I just want to watch him be in his element. Just stick with him being in his element. We'll be perfectly fine. A-okay. At the end, they end up getting Ridge Holland out of there, and Priest end up hitting Lorcan with the Reckoning for the win. And then we get Keith Lee versus Cameron Grimes.
Number 1 contender, Cameron Grimes.
He thinks he's a number 1 contender. So last week,
Cameron Grimes.
Yeah. Last week, Keith Lee murdered him in cold blood. Twice. So naturally, it's a match. Match starts off by Keith Lee, still angry for a whole week later, still just angry as he was. Tries to get a hold of Grimes. Grimes gets in the corner, gets in the ropes. Get him off me, ref. Get him off of me. And I don't even mean like he got close, like, you're not gonna get me in this corner. You're not gonna put me in this corner. He gets him out of the corner the 3rd time. He rolls out the ring. We're not doing this unless you stop trying to put me in the corner. He starts looking at him and point.
Is that Cameron Grimes or Randy Moss?
Oh my God. It's Randy Moss. It's totally Randy Moss. It's like a cross between Randy Moss and like Yosemite Sam. So I'm putting like West Virginia and Texas together. Meanwhile, like this dude's from North Carolina. Look, man, I'm just doing my best I can right here. So,
yes. So, what's up to all North Carolina listeners? North Carolina, go ahead and raise up.
So, eventually they start wrestling, and Keith Lee just beating his ass, except for a couple runs where he's able to counter him, like, you know, shoulder tackles, big shoulder tackles. There's a spot where later in the match, they both hit the ropes and they're going to meet in the middle, and you think like Keith Lee's going to destroy him with another shoulder tackle or whatever else, but like, Grimes turns it into like his Spanish fly body cross thing that he does. It's awesome. Goes for the cave in, catches him in the air in the cave in, gives him the power bomb, and gets the win. After the match, I I don't know if Scarlett came out. I don't think Scarlett came out, but the lights go black and Cross is on the screen and he says, I told you last week that you didn't know what would happen, that you don't even know what was going to happen. You don't even want to know what was going to happen if you do not accept my challenge. Well, here are some of the consequences. They show him, the lights come on, and it's in black and white still, and he basically has Danny Burch's carcass, and he throws it to the ground, and then they pan and they zoom out, and like the PC is in tatters, and like they're just bodies everywhere. It was almost like a fucking comic book villain had just murdered, had just pulled off a terrorist plot. Like it looked like that. So then from there we end up getting a recorded message from Regal. Regal notifies and lets us know that Loomis hurt his ankle, so he has an injury, so he will not be able to be in the North American title match. He says so his slot has been open. Bronson Reed's still in there, and you also have Priest that just got himself in there, so that leaves 3 slots for the tournament. So what he has done is say that next week it will be Kushida versus I'm blanking on the name. Hold on.
Kushida's alive.
Yeah, Kushida Jack now, right?
Oh man, it could have been the G1 this year.
maybe. What was it? It was Kushida and I can't remember who it was. Anyway, it was Kushida, a mystery opponent, and Cameron Grimes. That's who it was. Cameron Grimes, Kushida, and a mystery person will have their qualifier, so that'll be a third person in. So there'll be 2 slots left. So what they're doing is the third person that were in these matches that didn't win or get pinned or submitted are getting put in. Those 4 people are getting put into matches against each other, and the 2 winners will be added to the ladder match. So before it was there's going to be 5 triple threat matches, and the 5 winners all go to the ladder match to win the title. Now it's we had to cancel 2 of these matches, and the people that get pinned or submitted one of these matches, and the people that get pinned or submitted any of them all have to fight each other, and then they have a chance to win a ladder match. It's super convoluted now, and like I don't really feel I don't know if this is something. Sorry.
So wasn't it Regal's fault that these people like didn't get pinned in the first place?
What do you mean?
So like these people that are going to get these second chances in this match, they have these rightful, they ain't been pinned. It was his fault Damian wasn't pinned because he booked triple threat matches.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But anyway, so the thing is, like, if they don't do this unless Loomis gets hurt legitimately, because he's legitimately hurt. So once it's like, after that, it's like, it's out their hands. Like, they had no choice but to make it more convoluted, I guess. So once they did this, they're now going to be, Johnny Gargano was a person that didn't win and didn't get pinned or submitted. So was Finn Balor in his match. So those 2 are going to be in a series, in one of those 2 matches in next week's NXT, or in 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks from now, it's NXT. So what I expect to happen is the person that loses, I expect it's 3 people. It's Ridge Holland as well. So I expect Ridge Holland, Johnny Gargano, and Finn Balor, and whoever this third person is out of the Grimes and Kushida and mystery partner match. I expect what they do is probably go out here and have a Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor main event on one of these shows in the next 2 weeks. And wouldn't you do that if you were trying to counter program AEW Dynamite?
Sure, why not?
Right. So, and you know the
Finn Balor babyface.
Finn Balor.
Yeah,
he's a tweener.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
can't keep track. Right?
Yeah, this roster is filled with tweeners. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of his announcement. So I have some I wonder who this mystery person is in his last triple threat match. I'm thinking it's gonna be Ciampa. Because he has, I mean, if the mystery person is Roddy,
Ciampa might be in the damn. He might be in that Retribution faction.
Oh my god, he might be.
He might be running around with a hoodie on.
He might be
with spray paint and a chainsaw and a fucking bat.
I gotta tell you, you look at the Tommaso Ciampa. I don't think Antifa. I think the other side.
I don't either.
Yeah. But who knows? Yeah, so then we end up getting an in-ring promo from Phantasma, where Phantasma and Mendoza and Phoenix, or not Phoenix, but Wild, they drag Fandango's carcass into the ring and say, "You have mocked Lucha Libre culture. We are not for play with this shit. We are not here to sell you mask." So they bring him in, and then all of a sudden Tyler Breeze comes out. They whoop Tyler Breeze's ass to it and stack their two carcasses on each other. And then he calls out Swerve and says, "Look closely. You see this? This is your future. You don't play with us." So they're setting up that match. They haven't specified on when that match is, but it's coming, and it's going to be a good one. So
I'll make sure I get some inside analysis on how Swerve plans to fight him.
Oh God! So then we end up getting this undisputed vignette talking about how like they're the greatest tag team champions in NXT history, and then you watch it and you go through the matches and you're like, obviously there's been 3 iterations of the 3 title reigns, but in the one sandwich between is the Roddy and Kyle version, but you're just like, yeah, they probably are. Given like the length of it, the number of matches, and the number of great matches. Like the only other team that really like matches up with them is like Revival, and I think they've gone longer than Revival. So then they go backstage and they're interviewing Damian Priest, or not backstage, in the parking lot where Priest is about to leave in his car, and I got to tell you, when Damian Priest is basically doing a promo where he's just talking about being confident in himself and not having to memorize lines, he reminds me a lot of like the confident Roman Reigns that we were just like, why won't you stop scripting that guy? Let him talk. Like he came off like, yeah, I understand why he's cocky and arrogant. Like he feeling himself, and like he's a good ass wrestler. There's a reason why he can, he's a good wrestler. I can understand that. So, the interview gets interrupted because, like basically like on the other side of the lanes, Bronson Reed's getting in his car and he says, Hey, Priest, just want to wish you good luck, in the tournament next week, man, or in the match that we have, for the North American title. So Priest tells the interviewer to bug her off, and he walks up on, Bronson Reed and he says, "You talking about luck?" He's like, "I don't need luck. I win. Unlike you that can only win during, with, the luck of Johnny Gargano's hand being fucked up." So he's like, "Well, you think I'm lucky? Let's see about it." And he's like, "Okay, let's see about it." They go face to face and stare, and they're set up for a match next week. I think it's gonna be a fun match. So then we end up getting, Pat McAfee brought to the commentary booth. And then we get Tegan Nox versus Indy Hartwell. Tegan squashes Indy Hartwell. And then you get Imperium versus Fish. And go ahead.
Didn't Indy Hartwell just beat up Shotzi Blackheart like 2 weeks ago or last week? She dominated her?
No. Shotzi was whooping her ass until the Robert Stone brand intervened, and then Indy got her first win in NXT by hitting her with her big boot finish.
Ah.
That's what happened. Yeah. So Indy is just doing jobs right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's one thing. Like she hit her with the big boot, hit Tegan with the big boot, and then didn't beat her, and she made the face like, "What? You kicked out of my finish?" Like, yeah, you never win, bro. Like, you surprised you didn't win? You never win. You almost never win. Anyway, so McAfee was on commentary during the match, and then after that match, you end up getting the NXT title match between Imperium and Fish and O'Reilly. I gotta tell you, O'Reilly in this match, he wrestled as if he has not been allowed to wrestle for months, and he's fucking missed it. He was the best worker I saw on Wednesday. Incredible. He was beating all kinds of ass. He was sweeping the leg with kicks. He was just amazing. So anyway, the problem with this match is they're having a good ass match, but this is intentional. McAfee is being so insufferable on commentary that you cannot focus on the match, and all it's doing is make you hate him because you see what O'Reilly and Fish and Eichner and Bartel are doing, and you're like, this is like at worst a 3.5-star match. Shut the fuck up and call the match. Leave. Stop bringing up Adam Cole. Stop with these small jokes. No one gives a shit. Why are you on commentary? I hate you. I want you off my fucking TV screen. Anyway, while this is happening, they have him be so insufferable that they have Beth Phoenix pretend to hang up on the call and say that she's just leaving off you remember, she's calling from remote. So she's like, yeah, I'm off the call. Yeah. Later, guys. I'm not doing this anymore. It's like, you would never do that fucking thing on an actual thing. Like, this is, you're showing us it's fake. Anyway, match continuing on. They come back from commercial break.
It's the shoot, brother. It's the shoot. It's real, James.
While the match is happening, Rich, while action is going on, while people are in fucking submission holes, they keep cutting away from the action in the ring to show shots of Adam Cole staring 20 feet from the broadcast booth, or showing McAfee. And I am just getting so angry. Like, I don't give a fuck. These dudes are going crazy in the ring. Stop this. I hate this. You're doing this, you know this piss people off, and it's still pissing me off. I still can't control how mad this is making me. So, basically, after they come back from commercial break, we're here towards the end of the match where, I'm going to the end of the match. I don't care. Whatever. Get towards the end of the match. You have Undisputed have the advantage. There is no cheating whatsoever from, Cole on the outside or from Roddy. They're just there watching. Eventually, towards the end, once Fish and O'Reilly get the advantage, Adam Cole walks over to the booth in front of the table and says, dude, I can hear all the shit you're talking about me. I'm only 20 feet away. What is wrong with you? You were brought here. Call the match. Leave me alone and shut up. Right? So, then, one of them, I don't know if it was Fish. O'Reilly gets distracted. They clear O'Reilly off the apron. They end up hitting, what is it called? Basically like the European cutter power bomb, demolition move, for the finish and pin Fish. Then all of a sudden, they get into a shoving match. All of the geek refs show up. Sean shows up. Hunter shows up. And they're arguing, and they tell McAfee to leave. McAfee then walks halfway out of the building, turns around, and then calls Adam Cole short. Adam Cole jumps. Adam Cole, some version of short. Adam Cole jumps, blows his stack again, jumps onto the table. They snatch him to keep him from jumping off the table onto him. So he's in this weird position where he's like extending and leaning over. So McAfee, because he was an NFL punter, punts him in the chest. Adam Cole falls off the table, face first onto the floor like he just got fucking shot with a gun instead of kicked in the chest. And then Triple H shoves the shit out of McAfee and says, "Get the fuck out of here!" Shoves him twice, and then is Adam. McAfee's a heel and Adam Cole's a babyface. He's a dumbass, and it blows the stack of being called short.
Oh my god!
I fucking hate
this. Is the babyface? So this is the big babyface turn of Adam Cole.
Yes, being upset that he was called short.
These niggas suck. Oh my god! So I saw this, and I've been seeing this angle that they've been doing, which was a work from the whole thing somehow.
Right.
I guess people forgot that Pat McAfee is actually on the WWE payroll. He's literally fucking worked WrestleMania, and they're framing it like he's this outsider. It's like, no, nigga, he's on the payroll.
And does pre-shows for takeovers all the goddamn time.
So, and I saw someone put a reel together, this all makes sense. And it's Adam Cole being a dick to Pat McAfee for a 2-minute edited clip and all these different things. So I'm like, hold on, y'all trying to do this to say why this makes sense, but then Adam Cole's the baby face?
And it makes no sense because, when they've been doing it for the last, I don't know, year or year and a half, whatever, with McAfee on these pre-shows, right, for takeovers, McAfee's been the baby face. Sam Roberts has naturally been a heel because he is a fucking heel doing this nonsense. And every time he's like, Sam Roberts like, Adam Cole's the best, blah, 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 with that annoying, grating fucking voice. And then Pat McAfee's like, all he does is fucking cheat to win. He never beats anybody clean. It's always when someone comes in and fucks with his opponent to beat them. It was just like, duh, that's the obvious thing, right? So then it's turned into this where it starts because on that video that they did, on that, interview thing they did, he pointed out, yeah, bro, you cheating all your fucking matches. Let's be real here. And then he calls him short and then he blows up, which is why would McAfee be the heel in this situation? He told the truth and then he also called it short dude short. I understand he's being a jerk there, but it's everything else was 95% of it is Adam Cole's the heel, except for this one part. Oh, you called him short. Those are fighting words. No, the fuck they're not. Sit the fuck down. So then we get to this where it's they did this, this weak ass.
It's a shoot.
And the thing for me is Adam Cole's been a cool heel this whole time. Why does he need to be a babyface now? He's already been a babyface more or less. He's just been able to cheat in his matches.
The old
Rich,
NXT.
Do you feel like Adam Cole was a heel when you were in Barclays? Do you feel like he was a heel then?
No, Adam Cole was as over as Stone Cold Steve Austin was at Raw Reunion.
But
no bullshit.
Move him to the main roster and move Undisputed to the main roster and move the fuck on.
James, they are doing this on a takeover.
Right.
What happened? It's funny because Pat McAfee has all the charisma of a pro wrestling heel. And I saw a couple videos that he put out. He's a great talker, but yo.
No one wants to see this shit. This is the no BS brand.
This is the WWE main rosterization of NXT.
Yep.
I can't believe that they
have him fight the top heel in the company.
I can't believe, and then they sacrifice Adam Cole and leave him face down by Pat McAfee. They let him beat the ass of the top star of NXT.
Well, here's the thing, right? I'm okay with
what?
Hold on.
He just had the longest reign ever, the greatest NXT champion ever.
Okay,
the next thing they do with him,
the fact that he laid him out bothers me, but it's not because of the fact that he's a punter and this was the greatest longest reign champion. My problem is he kicked him in the chest and he sold it as if he got kicked in the head. He sold the punt.
Yes.
He's if he kicked him in the head.
I thought he got kicked in the face.
If he kicked him in the head or the face, no problem, makes all the sense in the world. He kicked him in the chest. He should be dry heaving or some shit like that, or selling he broke a rib. Not that he got fucking shot in the head.
Dead.
Yeah, it was dumb. It was dumb.
Yeah.
But the part where a punter kicks a dude or whatever else, ain't no problem with selling that. But sell it correctly, not this bullshit.
Also, Pat McAfee will fold Adam Cole in half.
In a real fight, probably. In a shoot, probably. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's how, this was being played. And now it's Now Triple H challenges Pat McAfee to the match, not Adam Cole. Like, bro, oh man, I can't tell you how bad this like looks like on the outside of it. Like, why
would you want to watch it?
Why would I like?
Why don't I give a fuck? Why don't I give a fuck about a former NFL punter in a wrestling match?
Right, like Gronk was just here and we didn't give a fuck about Gronk. Like, what is this? I don't know. This is bad. This is like, I feel bad for people that ain't found out what NXT is by this point. I feel bad. Like, it's just like, this ain't what y'all was sold. Like, this ain't what the last, before national television, like, I feel like we said it was going to happen the whole time. Like, I don't know, man.
We go back to Triple H thing where it's like, nothing will change. And we were like, no, it's not. You're full of shit. Like, or maybe you believe that, but we know what's going to happen. And now we have a former NFL player on our No BS program.
Yeah. I guess they like, Pat McAfee has a radio show, but he's not even necessarily popular.
This
like that.
will do nothing for them as far as being able to convert whatever interest they have into viewership over the long term. And I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but what I'm saying is nobody wants to watch that on your main roster when you put celebrities or non-wrestlers on your show, and now you want to do it on the hardest of the hardcore audience that you actually have. It's going to go even worse. And it's a lesser star than the ones you were trying to do with this before.
And like, it's at a like NXT TakeOver 30. They're about to try to celebrate the history of this show on this show, I would assume, because they've named it as such. And it's like, this is the idea y'all had. Y'all ain't have nothing else for Adam Cole. Like, this is, I feel like exactly what I said it was. I was like, oh wow. So they don't want to have Adam Cole start putting people over like on the way out yet. So I guess this is what they're doing. Good luck.
It's I don't know what this is. It is something that is a waste of time. It should not be on TakeOver. Like, this better be like the fucking opener. Get it the fuck out the way.
Yo.
Like, seriously.
Could it be good? Apparently Pat McAfee has trained with Rip Rogers a little bit, but I don't know, man.
Barring anything short of Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Seth McMahon and Triple H, how would that be able to compete with a TakeOver match? Sandwiched in between if it's not the opener.
I mean,
and at least Ronda Rousey came from a world that's applicable to a wrestling fan. They can understand that a fucking shoot fighter can go out here and do wrestling moves and look impressive. I don't know how you translate a motherfucker that kicks a ball 40 yards in the sky
don't get it wrong.
Being able to be in a combat sport. Or a
football players have been coming into wrestling for as long as we can remember, but like this
Lawrence
guy,
Taylor, Reggie White, Kevin Green, Mongo McMichael, Roman Reigns. The list goes on and on and on of former football players. But
this guy's a punter. Even though he's fucking huge, like he towers over Cole. Like, what the fuck?
It's a punter.
Fucked up.
Like, the whole thing is with the wrestler. The whole thing is like the football player is like Goldberg is another example. It's like, this is a person that has a level of physicality that is known, so there's an aura or mystique of badassery. Not saying that this is fair or not, but that does not exist for punters or kickers in the NFL. It does not. Not saying that you can run up on Pat McAfee and it's going to go the way you think it will. I'm sure he'll put a lot of you motherfuckers on the concrete. That's not what the point is. You can't sell that to people. It will not hunt.
Yeah. I'm not seeing it, man. And that's going to be on TakeOver. So that means it's going to get more TV, or they're going to keep showing this, whatever angle was, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
On valuable minutes. Hell no. It wouldn't be me. Anyway. That it?
I don't know how this is a 3-hour show. I can't believe it.
Unbelievable.
We thought this was going to be like an hour and a half show, but of course it can't because we have to talk because we have to talk about the women's division of AEW. We have to bury this fucking bullshit ass main event of NXT. Just fuck. Just all right. You got anything else we done?
I am much happier with the wrestling this week, but
I am too. I just like this one thing was like the only like. This is like the one, like you lose a game, like you lose a baseball game pitching a one hitter, like his one hit you gave it was a home run. This was like this McAfee thing was like you giving up a home run in like the 8th inning.
Yeah.
Of a 0-0 game. Like this is like the John Small losing to Jack Morrison, in game 7 of the World Series in 2001. It's like, you were great. You lost.
Yeah. Do you remember, I think it was Chris Carpenter on like the Cardinals. Like, remember when he got the Phillies the fuck out of here that one year? Like the Phillies are great all throughout the regular season. It was like game 5 of the NLDS.
That's 2010?
It was, I think so. Okay. Or 2013 or something like that. And Chris Carpenter.
It wasn't 10. It was 11. It was 11. It was 11.
Okay. And Chris Carpenter decided that y'all weren't going to hit the ball today. Like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Chris Carpenter used to be able to do that.
Ain't nothing you can do. Right?
Yeah. Bearing down. Yeah. Madison Bumgarner did one of those too. I think that was 2012 when he went crazy. Or maybe that was, I think it was 2012. Like, there have been some runs like that. Yeah. Oh, God. I fucking hate Cliff Lee. That's like, I think that he should have won World Series MVP in 2009. Like, he was that good in his 2 starts, but his team just happened to lose. I don't know how. I think CC Sabathia won MVP. It was like he lost the game 1-2 to Cliff.
Nah, A-Rod won MVP. I thought. No, it was Hideki Matsui.
Yep. Like it should have been A-Rod, but like postseason MVP that year, it was A-Rod. All them damn tied or behind 7th inning or later in home runs he was hitting. Like that's one of the greatest that's one of the greatest like offensive postseasons with big moments like ever. Like quote unquote clutch gene and all that made up bullshit. Like that was all time clutch gene for a person that people said had none at all. It's like okay, maybe just maybe.
I mean, he gave out plenty. Look, he gave out plenty of evidence before.
No, my point is like, when you talk about people like or Barry Bonds or Peyton Manning was like, you can't win the big one. There's something that's fundamentally flawed about you. It's like, okay, or I can have like the 2010 World Series run, or I can have like, I win 2 Super Bowls. Like maybe, just maybe, y'all are just wrong. It's like, this is a really hard football, this is a really hard game, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and like, odds turn in your favor from time to time. That's kind of how it goes. Yeah, so, if anything else wrestling wise? Oh, Stardom, there's only like, last I checked, there's only 3 matches from, this weekend's batch of, Grand Prix shows.
Next week. So, Yoshihashi won a title.
Wait, he won that?
Yoshihashi is finally a champion. They won the team I picked. Ishii, Yoshihashi, and Taguchi, I believe.
Forever, Neville. Forever, never.
Shouts out to Murray, who photoshopped Yoshihashi on the boyhood dream Shawn Michaels winning the title at WrestleMania 12 of the never open weight 6-man title. This is his first ever title.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I think I'm all good, man.
All right.
Hopefully y'all enjoyed the show this week. We out here over delivering as always. Lay a donation down for your boys.
Yeah, I think next week we should do either whatever verses they come up with for next week. But we needed to go over the Rick Ross and 2 Chainz one. We just didn't get to it because of like the weird thing that happened with their verses. Like
the full version just dropped.
Okay, so I'll watch that probably later on today. But yeah, like. I didn't watch it live. I forgot what I was doing, but I went to watch it earlier today, and it starts in round 10. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it was in the middle, and then like Rich gives me the list of the songs. I'm like, this is like starts at round 10. What the fuck's going on? So we'll get back to you on that next week. But like from the stuff I heard, like the couple rounds I heard it before I realized that this was in the middle of the thing, like. 2 Chainz seems to have been able to compete better than I thought he would. Like, I mean, I don't know if he actually picked up any of these, the couple rounds that I heard, but like, he can actually, you know, depending on how this goes, we'll see. I'm interested to see, Ross and 2 Chainz. Like, Ross should win. He should be the favorite going in, but just like we proved with like all these things, like, if you play the wrong shit, you will get sent the fuck up out of here.
Yeah, like even people that seem like they can't compete, it's like there's always a path to victory for somebody.
Yeah, and you know, ultimately, you know, comes down to it is like it's really just about, you know, hearing 2 Chainz and Ross like play the fucking heat they've made over the last decade and a half.
Man, I heard it was a whole lot of Drake and Lil Wayne that was all over this shit.
Oh, of course. Like, look. If you want to go through like the 2 Chainz mixtape route, he could do it. He could still get you a hot 20, but the songs that people know from 2 Chainz are mostly him on features. Like I was listening to
I'm gonna have to go play Understatement like on the way to the studio today.
You know what's funny? I listened to that earlier today. You know, they could play Round Around or I Spin It. I'm pretty sure he played that on there. I don't know why he wouldn't if he didn't. You know, I don't know. Did he play Riot?
I don't think he played it.
Okay, Riot goes so hard. So yeah. But anyway, so we'll get back to y'all on that next week with the Stardom update and the, you know, whatever versus stuff we got, from, this week and next. So, but that's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this and tell the folks about Social Suplex Podcast Network. Also shouts out to powerslam.tv, the sponsor of the show. They have over 5,000 hours of footage from all over the world. You can use the code Social Suplex to get your free month's trial. Also check out prowrestlingtees.com/Social Suplex to pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast and Network merchandise. Also check out the other shows on the network. This show, Sundays and Mondays, One Nation Radio. Keepin It Strong Style on Mondays and Tuesdays. Wednesdays, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Every other Wednesday, we have Roman Watch This Shit. On Fridays, we have Get in the Ring. And on Saturdays, we have All Things Elite. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Yep. Peace.
Later.